Hello, my internet fans. It's me, Statboy Mike, and I would like to welcome you to this week's installment of Throwback Thursday. The Casa D18 Studios Channel continues to sort through the archives of the Jeff Meacham Network, the Simple Man brand, JH95 FTW, NoDQ.com, and the Casa Channel in order to bring you classic content that you may not have seen in a long time, if ever. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Throwback Thursdays offering. I love you all. Statboy out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Jeff Meacham Network.
JJ, Jeff, you want to kick this thing off? Because I'm still trying to process everything here.
Yeah, it's like,
who wants to go first?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
well,
Come on in. It's open mic night with your host,
you could maybe say there's really 4 topics, but it's split into 6.
the Renegade, JJ Williams.
The Sammy and Eddie Kingston thing, which one's the better smelling turd?
And his panel of co-hosts.
I am the founder. We'll call me that for today since we're going with the Jeff Jarrett love theme here this week, according to JJ.
The West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham.
Karma is karma is karma.
That's professional wrestling! Damn it!
The Simple Man, Noah Foster.
It's showtime! Yeah! How you doing, JJ? How you doing, Jeff?
James.
Yeah.
And the He-Man, James Hebert.
Imagine Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Paul White, the Baldies! There you go! It sells itself!
God.
Get in there!
Short his ass and shit the bed.
He's not Amber Heard.
Give it time, JJ, give it time.
Now, I'm sure Jeff has some stuff that...
Dumb move. Just don't pull this bullshit again. You get one.
Tony needs to stop caring about the ratings.
Bradshaw said as long as the ads are in place, we're not going to lose that third hour.
Ring of Honor does not have to be AEW Live. They don't necessarily have to coexist with each other. We kind of saw that tonight to a degree.
Along with a panel of guests.
He is no longer glorious. Don't you bring that up. You want me to rant about what my NXT used to? No, we are done here for the night. I swear, James.
Because you never know who may show up for open mic night.
I leave our company in the capable hands of an extraordinary group of superstars, employees, and executives.
The first thing that came to my mind was, it's about damn time.
Amen!
I literally touched everybody in the state's trash. So it's horrible, you guys.
Peyton's new thing is Dennis the Menace, but it's funny because she calls it Dentist the Medicine. And
that's great.
When Elliot Taylor came out and did Born for Greatness live, I was popping my pussy, having a great time. I didn't care. I was having so much fun.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Fuck Bill Belichick.
We ended on wrestling, and then you bring in that shit. That's just how the fan goes off the damn rails. Brilliant, bloody brilliant.
And we're live. I know you're still muted, Jay, so just give me a second here. There we go. We're live here on the Jeff Meacham Network on the Simple Man's page on James's YouTube, which I can't pronounce because my brain's spastic. And tonight we're on the Casa D18 Studios as well. Welcome to Open Mic Night, presented by the Jeff Meacham Network. For now, I am the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham, joined by the Renegade JJ Williams, and lots to talk about. It's the night before we rumble, folks. And also, in addition to Open Mic Night, for me anyway, it's dinner hour, so don't mind me.
It was the night before the Rumble and all through St. Louis.
That's right. Now, the creature was peaceful because shit's about to go down.
Right.
It was the night before the Rumble and all through St. Louis, but Forbidden Door blew off its hinges. It's about to get serious, bitches.
There you go.
That's it. So anyway, Josh is here. I see Josh in the chat room. Josh, again, you want to come on in, brother? Come on in. Matt's here. Hello, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. You tell everybody.
Yes. Every show.
Video. We love you, Matt.
So again, I'm doing this by the seat of my pants here. The computer's acting spastic in the other room. That's why I'm in Dylan's room. And also, I'm loud and I don't have a door. And yeah, I'm on the phone. So JJ's running the room. So we thank JJ for that. Josh, I actually put the link in the comments on Facebook and Twitter. So you can actually just click. You should be able to click right on it. Because last week I know it was a spaz, or 2 weeks ago it was a spaz because you're trying to get it as it was scrolling along. We're not doing that anymore. If you want me to, okay, I can message the link if it's really. I mean, go ahead and try to click on the links first, Josh. If you can't click it on social media, I'll go ahead and okay, there we go. That's probably being ahead of the comments.
Yeah, right. It's all good. I usually don't have to deal with this part of things because when I do my shows, I just straight record them, edit, upload. It is what it is. I don't usually run the live. So
yes, JJ's rarely on the live part of things.
Forgive me if things come off a little bit unhinged today because I am running the studio. Jeff is on his phone, and I don't usually handle the live stuff. So if things get kind of chaotic, that is why.
It's open mic night. It's bad shit.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
What is up, Josh?
Fucking hell, my predictions for the women's rumble just went to shit. But Greg Cherry, you're happy, so yay.
Whoa,
it's boss time, damn it.
Whoa, we've been on the air for 5 minutes and we've already used our F-bomb.
Sorry.
Well, the thing about open mic night is the F-bombs, it is what it is. So
okay.
Especially when James is here.
This happening after everyone's already put their predictions in,
right.
Just screwed everyone up. I messaged Noah tonight for the predictions week. I'm like, can I change my predictions?
Yeah.
He's like, yes. I'm like, thank you. Sasha just screwed me. Not in a good way.
Well, right. For those of us on the West Coast or don't get SmackDown on the East Coast feed, Sasha Banks did indeed return from injury early. She's here. The boss is back.
See,
So,
and you know what? Here we go. Topic number 1. Did they mess up bringing her out on SmackDown? Should they have saved her for a surprise entrant in the Rumble, a la Cena coming back early from injury in 08?
No, because we're already. If they would have saved Sasha, it would have been overlooked immediately by Ronda. Yep. I think with Sasha being announced back, I think that might be a sign. Either they're trying to throw us off, or we're not getting Ronda.
True. Very true.
Because again, I trust Dave Meltzer about as far as I can throw him, and I can't even pick him up. So.
No. Dave deserves a beat on your head with your prosthetic legs.
Yeah.
Like an asshole. Anyway,
Now, Grant, I'm excited to see Sasha.
Yes.
Were there any more announcements for SmackDown superstars for the men's Rumble?
Not that I saw on social media. In the
you know how many superstars SmackDown has in the men's Rumble? 5.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's why I'm saying this is a Raw Rumble.
Yeah.
Like, there's like 4 different.
Nobody wants to go up against the bloodline.
See, I know people are going to be upset if it's Reigns, but I think WWE's willing to take that chance because of how over he is now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
which I don't blame him for going for it this time. Go for it while he's over. Have him finally do the match they've been trying to do, or get the moment at Mania they've been trying to do for 7 freaking years. Which is essentially what I said in my column today. Yeah. Quick little plug, if anyone wants to check out, I have a new column at NoDQ, Mansfield's Matchups, which is the name I came up for it with. It's going to be a monthly premium live event, since we're not calling them pay-per-views anymore. Premium live event predictions column, because I don't have it in me to write every week. So that's what that column is going to be going forward. So my predictions for that are up on NoDQ, and my predictions for the Women's Rumble just got shot to shit.
Well,
as they do.
The Rumble is one of those events where that happens a lot. And it's one of the things that I love about the Rumble is like you could look at the field and be like, that is the perfect person to win the Rumble. Like a Randy Orton. Win it, tie Austin's record in St. Louis, the Viper, the Rattlesnake. But all it takes is
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
One huge return, one huge moment, and everything gets flipped on its head.
Oh, did you see CM Punk trolling the fans today?
No. I've been at work.
You know that troll picture that people always, that troll picture from years and years ago of CM Punk at an airport, and everyone always uses it for like, oh, CM Punk is here, he's been spotted. Punk posted it today on Twitter, just with the caption, guys. So that was funny. Oh, and then Jericho trolling everyone today. With saying his thing for tomorrow night's canceled.
Well, weirder things have happened.
If anyone from AEW shows up tomorrow night, it's Cody.
But AEW is like part Cody's company. Like,
it's not. It's not. Cody's not on contract at all. Not his talent, not his EVP.
Or we're being trolled again.
He said flat out that Sean Ross Sapp isn't BSing anyone. That's legit. So I don't know, but I've been trying to stay away. I've been trying to stay away from spoilers for the men's Rumble as much as I can. Same with the women's, but this year I feel like this has been the worst year for spoilers. For like every single match, where it's like every return is getting spoiled.
I agree
like-
with that. Like, I went back the other day and I watched the 2018 Women's Rumble again. You know, the first one. And just watching all of those legendary women come back for the Rumble, and Trish at number 30, and the way that the place just went ape shit when Lita and Molly and Jacqueline and everybody came out. It's
Trish
like
got the
if
loudest.
you've announced a bunch of those people that are going
Right.
to be in one now.
But it's like, here's the thing though with that Rumble, you knew that some of those were going to be there specifically. Like,
right. You knew that there were going to be some of them, but it's always best to just save them and let the crowd have that moment. Be like, yeah, Michelle McCool. Yeah,
See,
the
here's the thing.
Bellas, you know, whatever.
Here's the thing, like everyone tries to say Trish Stratus at number 30 in the 2018 Rumble was a big, huge surprise return. To me, no, it wasn't. If you realize 29 people are out there, who's not here yet? Trish. Like, that was simple. Like, everyone knew it was going to be Trish since she wasn't there yet. Like, they weren't going to just put Ronda in the Rumble. You knew she was coming because the match was last, but you're muted, Jeff.
No, he's
the
not
2018
muted.
Rumble is arguably my we can't hear you.
Can't hear you, but you're not muted.
2018 Rumble is arguably my favorite Rumble. That and 2010 are my 2010, 2018, and 2020 are my three favorite Rumbles. I'm not that big on 2001. I know that's a very unpopular take, but I watched it this year for the first time and just
98 is one of my all-time favorites because you get all three faces of Foley in the same Rumble.
Right. I know a lot of people talk about the 92 Rumble. I haven't watched that one. The 2008 Rumble is the 2008 Rumble is definitely in my top. My top five are probably 2018, 2010, 2020, 2008, and then I'm going to say 2021. Last year's Rumble was freaking good. And like we said, 2020, there were those eensy little rumors about Edge, but nothing concrete. And they just shows up I remember because I was in the dorm watching that Rumble, and my RA literally came down the hall to tell me to be quiet because I was screaming so loud at Edge being back.
That happened here too. I couldn't get the feed to work because I was doing the watch along, and Dylan comes busting in. It's Edge! It's Edge! It's Edge! I'm like, what?
And then last year I screamed so loud because of Christian. That was super quiet.
Right.
I feel like the pandemic itself kept everything super under wraps.
Right.
And now this year, everyone knows, because what I've heard for the women's, the main ones I've heard are Melina, Caitlyn. Those are the ones I've really heard. The men's I've managed to stay away from as much as I can. Only ones I've heard are Shane and Angle.
Right. Josh, give me 1 second. JJ, the video I sent you, if the download will make your stream too slow, you can always share screen it. But I do want to show that before we go off the air tonight. So,
yeah, I feel like this year's been the year for things getting out for surprise returns. But
yeah,
thing is, if they're letting these surprise returns out, what might they still have under wraps?
Well, it's funny you ask that because there's a question in the chat room, and I'll go ahead and will anyone from Ring of Honor show up again? It's one of those. It's one of those where with Mickey being announced well ahead of time, and she's the reigning Impact champion. She showed the belt off last night, along with not much else on the outfit last night on Impact. God bless her for that one. we really don't know what's going to happen because, I mean, yes, the Ring of Honor guys are still contracted Ring of Honor, but they're not. They are, and a lot of them appear on Impact right now. I mean, we were having this, Impact / Bullet Club Ring of Honor / Bullet Club invasion on Impact last night. You've got Jonathan Gresham holding the Classic World title. You've got Bandito still being the recognized, official world champion. So there's a lot of things that can happen tomorrow night. And I'm here for it, whatever it's going to be. I missed like all y'all's Discord, so I apologize if I repeat anything you guys said. But there it is. There you go. Okay. As long as it works. I'm really not totally upset at we already know who's going to be there. I'm okay with only not knowing 8 or 7 or whatever, because that's still enough of there's enough people where I'm going to be surprised every few entries, which is fine.
Right. I remember, I think the most unpredictable Rumble of recent years was 2017.
Right.
And everyone's like, anyone can win it. And then Randy Orton won and we were all disappointed. It's like, that's a funny way to spell The Undertaker.
Right.
That's what I wanted, obviously. I mean,
honestly, my enduring memory from the 17 Rumble was the Reigns Undertaker interaction, because you knew where they were going. You know where it was headed. So that was right with me.
I love the Goldberg Taker stuff. Just Taker showing up out of nowhere, just cleaning house.
That was cool to see Goldberg, get put in his place for a brief moment. It's just the fact that Goldberg almost killed Taker what pisses me off. Anyway,
Goldberg showing up on my screen pisses me off.
This is a very true statement, also. So, with that
I don't think that they can pick a bad winner this year, unless for some it's Lesnar or Reigns. They're not going to be dumb and do Austin Theory, because I'm sorry, I don't want Austin Theory pushed down my throat.
Well, but you know what?
I'm a Finn Balor guy. He's my dark horse. I want a redemption story for Finn, even though Vince apparently isn't high on Finn anymore.
Right.
I want the Finn Balor redemption story, and him versus Rollins, main event not main event, at WrestleMania, in a rematch from 2016, where hopefully Balor doesn't get injured this time.
Right. Well, he can't do the bug bomb anymore because he messed Sting up with that. Let me transition. We're going to stay on the Rumble, but JJ brought up a great topic. He sent me a picture that I officially doctored accordingly for YouTube purposes, and it was a great question. And we were talking about Edge earlier. We were talking about that moment with Edge earlier. So, Jay, go ahead and bring that up for me, if you will. WWE on Fox, they pose great questions on their social media, so much so that I make polls out of them quite frequently. At least I intend to in the course of my weekend. But for you guys watching at home and for everybody here in the room, what is, in your opinion, the most shocking moment in Royal Rumble history? And go ahead and take it down, brother. I'll go ahead and start since I'm leading the way here. That definitely was a wow. I still get the freaking feels when I hear his music hit in Phoenix and he comes out, and you hear it in Graves' voice too, and in Booker's voice, because neither one of them knew, and it was so awesome to hear the genuine reaction.
Even Michael Cole's "Oh my."
Yeah. I mean, Michael knew because he's the producer of the counter, so he has to know that shit. But he sold it like gangbusters. He is given far too much shit these days compared to when he deserved it 9 years ago. Let me just be clear on that. I shit on Michael Cole so much when we were doing the Casa show some years ago. He could fertilize his yard with the amount of shit we gave him, like, for real. But you know what?
But back then he deserved it.
Yes.
And the thing is, he stepped into a role that nobody. How do you follow JR? How do you follow Gorilla? You just don't. And he was forced to. And because Vince just kept getting low on JR. They even brought Joey Styles, and Vince was like, never mind. And they shit on him too. So, but Michael Cole, as the executive producer of the announce team now, has done such a masterful job, and he's still one of the best on play-by-play within WWE. But anyway, yeah, he sold that moment like gangbusters. Just
speaking
wonderfully.
of Edge, real quick, I'll never forget the pop in Cleveland a few months ago, back in July.
Oh yeah.
Edge wasn't advertised to
Nope.
be there that night.
Nope.
That pop was genuinely like, oh shit, you're here. Yay, yes, please. Like that was also the night Heyman sang John Cena's theme and made us all laugh our heads off.
Yes.
That was a fun SmackDown. What would you here's the thing though. The word had been going around before then for Edge's return then. What would you say is more shocking between that, which was talked about, Edge's 2010 return months and months early, or Christian's return last year that literally no one saw coming? Because he was rumored to be out literally permanently more so than Edge was.
Right. All three of those are definitely on my list for sure. You know, as a John Cena friend, supporter, follower, or whatever, the 2008 moment in the Garden, no less, is I mean, seriously, you know, much like Greg, I do a Rumble binge every year. So like 2008, I'm waiting for the 30 because it's like, okay, wait, just and then instant goosies because he walks out there, he just stands there like, yep, I'm back, way too effing early, and the Garden.
I watched it on Tuesday. So, I watched it Tuesday because that's a favorite Rumble of mine.
Right.
And hearing Cody Rhodes on Inside the Ropes talk about that Rumble and about how he got Taker let him do a bump, and Cody just marking out for Taker letting him do a bump. That's adorable.
That was pretty cool. So I mean, all the injury returns are always big because you don't see them coming, especially Edge and Christian and Cena. What I want to hear is the gentleman that brought the topic up, because he's been sitting here telling me all week he's got something that people aren't necessarily going to think about. And when he says it, it's going to be like, oh, damn, I should have. The professor should have thought of that. I'm going to feel like an idiot. Go ahead.
Not necessarily that you should have thought about it, that you're effing idiot.
Yeah.
But it's just definitely something that gets swept under the rug. That, you know, hindsight being 2020, people don't think about it because long term it wasn't impactful.
Right.
But I feel like the moment at hand, it still was like underwhelming of sorts, but it was a big deal and no one talks about it.
Which Rumble?
Haku at the 2001 Rumble.
Oh.
Yes.
He literally was the WCW Hardcore Champion, walked out of the company and walked into that Rumble, making his return to the company. And he didn't last long in the WWF. He was gone after a few months. You know, if I remember correctly, Mr. Perfect came back at the same Rumble, which was a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
No, that was the next year.
2002.
I get them. Sometimes they blur together. But in any event, Haku coming back at that Rumble, still technically being the WCW Hardcore Champion again. WCW went under less than 2 months later. So was it really that huge in the long term? But people don't think about that. You know, it's almost as impactful as Mickey walking in the champion this time, except this time it's being acknowledged.
Right.
And she will have her theme song, her hardcore country theme song, and the title. She had said that on a podcast, and that's why I think she's coming in at 1 or 2. If she has the belt with her, she's coming in at 1 or 2.
Yeah, and, you know, she came in on Impact last night and made it crystal clear. She's walking in there with her championship. So, you know, she's not going to, she's going to walk in there with that championship over her shoulder, hopefully dressed like that. God damn. Anyway, and she, in storyline context, intends to, you know, main event WrestleMania, champion versus champion. And wouldn't that be something if they actually did it?
See, here's what I'm thinking. Laurinaitis, of course, said no more borders.
Yes.
I don't think they realized at the time what a big deal that would mean for the fans and how much we would be excited for that.
Right.
I think here's what I think. They just planned to have Mickey. There wasn't going to be any other Forbidden Door for. I mean, they wanted the inspiration, Iconics,
Right.
Too, which I think once they got Mickey and realized the buzz it created, I'm going to say they weren't planning on anyone for the men's, but I think that may have gotten their gears turning to the point where we may. And they're just doing a damn good job of keeping that one under wraps, considering Rousey's all over the news.
Yeah. I think it's almost, for me, you know, and we talked about this yesterday on the Greg Wednesday, right? God damn, too many freaking days blurring together. Too little sleep this week for freaking gigs. We talked about this on the Greg Cherry show, and we talked about it in the car last night going to the whiskey to see the kiddies. With Mickey being in there, I almost think it's a guarantee we're going to see Moose. Figure we have the Impact Knockouts World Champion. We should have the Impact World Champion in there too. And also he's been, you know, spitting fire at Reigns on social media too. So why not?
Or her husband.
Or Nick. Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with Nick, you know, honestly, just because, but again, to do the t-shirt, we still haven't sold one of them yet. Here's the thing. I think if Nick was still the NWA champion, definitely.
Maybe, yeah.
The fact that he's not anymore leads me to believe it's less likely. And I'm not shading on Nick. Nick, I'm not shading on you. I'm still not shading on you. I promise, Nick. Please unblock me, Nick. Anyway, Jesus. I just don't think that the WWE audience, even knowing about the NWA's resurgence, even knowing about that, will be like, oh, it's the guy that was Magnus.
I still forget that's who Nick Aldis was.
Right.
Like I know Magnus more than I know Nick Aldis.
Right. And see, it'll be one or the other. It'll be like, oh, I forgot he was Aldis and Magnus, or it's like, who the hell is this guy at all? Which is not the reaction they want on their shows. Here we go. Psycho Jet Black says, one of the most shocking moments of the Rumble was the entire booking of the 2015 Royal Rumble where WWE failed to get Roman Reigns cheered and got The Rock boot. Yeah. When The Rock comes back as a surprise, as he often does, and they boo The Rock, that's when you got to go, you know, maybe we ought to flip the script here. And they didn't.
Because they did last year, and they gave us our way. Last year, they weren't going to do it 2 years in a row.
No. Well, but the thing is, the previous year they did Batista because Roman dominated the 2014 Rumble, and then Batista won it, and they Batistaed him out of the building.
Because
they should have.
That's right.
I admit here, I am one of the rare people that was fully on board with Batista winning. I didn't get on the Daniel Bryan train till late.
Right.
In that road to WrestleMania, I didn't care about it. Like I remember reading on NoDQ that the plan match was Sheamus or Standby. I'm like, okay, like give me Orton Batista. I want Batista. But then the whole Daniel Bryan thing, I'm like, okay, and I got on board with it.
Well, but
I was late to the game.
You also have to remember, Josh, you know, as you've mentioned so often, you were in middle school when we were doing our thing years and years ago. Because we're all older than dirt compared to you, which is fine. But while you were on the Daniel Bryan train late in 2014, he and I were on the Bryan Danielson train in the mid 2000s. So we've been,
I understand,
and quite honestly, we've been the fucking caboose at this point because we've been carrying that freaking banner for 15 years. Like, yes, always the Bryan Danielson.
And I understand that now, in my perspective for this Rumble, because again, if Finn Balor's not even in this Rumble, I will lose my shit.
Right.
Put it to you this way. We've been carrying the Bryan Danielson banner for so long that when he came to the ring at Mania 2014 for that title match, both Jeff and I at our respective houses played his indie wrestling theme on our phones for his entrance to replace that god-awful Fly to the Valkyries, Kill the Wabbit bullshit.
What? I like that theme song.
We played Europe's The Final Countdown on our phone, which was his indie wrestling theme song.
And to this day, Josh.
And it worked.
And it works. Yeah, it blended right. Yeah, it was perfect. And let me just say this. We weren't as close with Brian at that point because he'd been away from, our indie circuit here, for long enough where we weren't talking near as much. I have never cried about somebody winning the championship I hadn't seen in 5 years near it like I did. I mean, he and I both were very emotional because that was our guy, and
Yeah.
yes, we were both.
I've only cried for wrestling one time, but continue.
You're good. Go ahead. You're good.
Yeah. So mine was WrestleMania 33, ending of Mania 33.
Right.
That was because it was my birthday too.
Right.
So, and Taker's my GOAT, my all-time favorite, and that's my one regret in wrestling that I never got to see him live. Right. That's my one regret. And that was my crying moment for wrestling. Continue with yours.
Yeah, Bayley, and again, Bayley, it really depends where the knee is because she's only 6 months into what is at least a 9-month rehab. She may pull a Cena, but the ACL is a lot different than the pectoral muscle on any person. You can get away with having a, having your shoulder not be 100% to go and kind of fudge your way through a Royal Rumble appearance. You can't exactly walk out there with your knee hanging off its freaking hinges. That's just one of those things that's not going to work. But I'd love to see her. It'd be great, especially with Sasha healthy now. We can have all 4 of them there tomorrow night, which would be great, especially if Ronda does come back, because then we can start stirring some shit up. Even Jessamine and Marina not being in wrestling anymore, or at least not with WWE anymore, we've still got Shayna and we still got Ronda possibly. So I'm good with that.
Do we have a status on Noah?
What's up?
Do we have a status on Noah?
No, I don't, and I have my thing on Do Not Disturb, so I don't get interrupted like I just did trying to do the video thing. So if he's messaging, I'm not getting it. But I did send him and James the link in the group chat for the 3 of us. So if he comes in, great. Like I said, he might be just have gone to bed because I didn't see SmackDown or Rampage. It could have just worn him out. He went to bed. Plus, because he has to call a pay-per-view for me tomorrow, so he's probably gonna get some sleep if he knows what's good for him.
I'm hoping for tomorrow we get at least X-Pac, of course, he wants to be there. Right. Shane Helms is almost guaranteed. Well, it's like yearly at this point. Well, Hurricane.
Let me say this, Josh. I would love to see Sean Waltman there, absolutely. But as Greg has said, I don't want to see X-Pac. X-Pac's been in the Royal Rumble. I want to see the 1, 2, 3 kid.
That would be interesting. I don't think we're getting Corey Graves.
What about
just
6?
Because we're just learning now he's cleared. He's been cleared for years.
Right.
We're just learning about it now, but he's been cleared for years.
Right.
Maybe now that we know. I mean, again, if Graves is in there, the only way I want him in there is Pat McAfee in there as well.
Right.
Oh, and like I was saying about Balor earlier, little quick tidbit. I have 2 posters of wrestling in my room. One is the Undertaker Big Last Ride poster from WWEshop.com. The other one is this.
I like that poster. I've always liked Rob's renderings of stuff. He always does such a good job. So
this is how big of a Balor fan I am.
Right. Oh, exactly.
That is why I want Balor. I was so glad when I got to see him wrestle live at SmackDown in July.
There you go. Well, just for educational purpose, let me go and read this first. It says Ronda comes back, she'd have to be the one to win it. Well, that's what we've been predicting, especially on the prediction show the other night with NoDQ. If she is in it, she is going to win it. There is no doubt about that for me at all.
Yeah.
At all. There is no other option for Ronda than to come back and face Becky, especially for the championship, because she owes her one. So, but anyway, what I was going to say was, as far as Balor goes, let me go ahead and put on my professor hat here for a minute, Mr. Mansfield. I don't know how far back again, I know you've been watching for a while, but you were still a young pup back then anyway. When the NWA separated itself from Impact Wrestling, or TNA Wrestling as it was still called back then in 2007, they had that Reclaiming the Glory tournament for the NWA Championship, 10 pounds of gold. One of the people named in that tournament of 16 was Fergal Devitt. So we very easily could have had him be the NWA champion. We've since learned that had Brian not had his retina literally detached from its damn socket by Marishima in a Ring of Honor match, we would have had him be the NWA champion. So, there was a lot of possibilities in that. I mean, figure he was in that tournament. Fowler was. The man we now know is Darren Young. Fred, what's Fred's name?
Fred Rosser.
Rosser, thank you. Fred Rosser was in that tournament. There were a lot of people in that tournament. And you go, hey, I know that guy now. And of course, Adam Pearce ended up winning the tournament. So he ended up being the champion. So just great stuff
Adam
there.
Pearce's social media is beautiful.
Adam Pearce has been saying love somebody today every day this week, and I'm here for it, dude. See, and that's the thing. And JJ, let me take it out for just 1 second. We'll come back to that. JJ and I know Pierce on a different level because we've, given him a ride to his car after the shows. We've hung out with him. He's just such a genuine human being that people are only just now seeing how diverse he can be besides autonomous GM person, because he's not just that person. And anybody that thinks otherwise needs to go back and watch Wrestling Rewind and have Greg and I call him and Gravy for the NWA Championship. Go back and listen to us wax proxy about NWA Hollywood for the 4 or 5 years we were doing that shit, because Pierce is the man, and I will say that until they put me either in that little thing on the mantle or in the ground. All right, what we got here from Psycho? This will never happen, but imagine number 30, the glass shatters, Stone Cold marches down to the ring, giving everyone a stunner, winning the entire thing, either Roman or Lesnar at Mania. I would be here for an Austin Lesnar WrestleMania match, because that's one that never really got resolved. What's so funny?
I'm just cracking up at the whole possibility of that, because you think about that, and you think about the fact that Brock and Austin was supposed to be the qualifying match.
Yep.
Of the 2002 King of the Ring.
That started his journey out of it. Yeah.
Even in 2002, the creative was dumb and stupid, even after Vince Russo left.
And then you fast forward to WrestleMania 20, and Austin was the guest referee for Lesnar Goldberg, which, if there's ever been a bigger pile of shit in the Madison Square Garden, it was that match. But,
Well, I mean, the Ducks do play the Rangers every once in a while, so Anyway,
this was worse, and it, man.
Yeah.
This is what you asked me to pull down.
All right, let's see. Daniel says, I really want to see Impact Wrestling's Rosemary and Moose, but from Ring of Honor, I want to see Roxy or Josh Woods. This will be more. Go back.
He said another one.
Oh,
he says
okay.
That he'd be more shocked if Tessa
yes. I'll be shocked if Tessa Blanchard's welcome to any company again, except the one she's already signed to, because I wasn't there. My name ain't Paul. That's between them all. But Tessa's got the black mark on her for the bullying stuff. She was, allegedly, whatever. Again, I wasn't there. If I'm running a company, I'm signing Tessa Blanchard. She's got a buzz, and she's the daughter of she's the child of a horseman. That's legacy you can't ignore. So I would sign her myself, but she's entrenched in WOW. She's working with that company, and we've not heard squat about any WOW talent even remotely being considered for either Rumble. So don't be surprised. I would be very surprised if she did show up. All right.
Quick thing before we get to that next comment. Who was it? Psycho that mentioned Stone Cold challenging Roman or Lesnar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take another little scenario. Imagine Rock, number 30, winning, challenging for Lesnar first. They wanted to do that back at WrestleMania 30, but Rock was still hurt.
Yep.
I still want to see that match, Rock and Lesnar again.
I wouldn't be opposed to a Rock Lesnar rematch, because we really never got a definitive rematch after he basically squashed him at Long Island, and the Rock, went on his way. But I'd be more invested in a Stone Cold return, because if you think about it, I was doing the math because my brain was whatever. That's a 20-year resolution. when you figure that Austin walked out of the company because of the Lesnar booking in 2002. So to answer the question in the room, which is what was everybody's first Rumble they watched? Mine, I didn't get to watch the 1991 Rumble as it happened because we didn't have pay-per-view access yet. But the first one I watched, which I'm just big old chest pride, the 1992 Royal Rumble.
Ooh. That is a Rumble I have not watched yet.
It is on YouTube in its entirety.
I have Peacock. I will watch it. It's just one I haven't watched it. I mean, you weren't here when I told. I don't know if you were here when I told Renegade that I watched the 2001 Rumble, and that was just meh for me.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't care for it really.
I think that was just a kick in the pants. It's fun to watch.
I think it's just so many people have so much nostalgia over it, but for me, I watch it, I'm just like, it's okay. Like it wasn't my thing.
I think people glamorize that entire year. They really do. And for me, I love the whole alliance. People look at me like I got 3 heads. Like, so, okay. Josh, we need not talk over each other. You're killing me, dude.
Sorry.
It's okay. Sorry, I had to be blunt with that because I keep meaning to say it. Yeah. The 01 Rumble, other than getting Austin back where he needed to be, you're right. It's kind of a meh, but it's more fun for us to watch than anything else. WrestleMania, again, WrestleMania holds up so well because there were so many title matches and so many great storylines in the matches that weren't. You had Vince and Shane. You had Austin Rock. You had Mick Foley being involved, and the Trish being involved, Stephanie being involved in the McMahon match. You had TLC 2, which was one of the craziest damn things anybody's ever seen. And you had 9 people involved in that match, not just the tag teams themselves. You had every championship was on the line that night. You had everything going for that show, except for the fact that the buzz around WCW was so hot, and they were relegated to a skybox. It's like, oh, that's not a good omen. And then, like I said, I am a fan and advocate of the Alliance storyline. I just have a problem with WWE claiming, oh, we would have offset the pay scale if we brought in the NWO, Ric Flair, Goldberg, and those guys. It's like, you made almost $400 million last year, and then you shit the bed with this football league. Go screw yourself, pay these people in, shut the football league down for another year, and get a freaking storyline people are going to be so invested in, they're going to literally mortgage their damn house to watch Survivor Series when it resolves. But no, they didn't do that. That's the only thing. And like you said, they do glamorize that because the WWF made so much money that year, because there were so many people coming in, because WrestleMania was so goddamn good. But the rest of the year, it really, a lot of it was hit and miss. There were some matches on each show that were very good, but the entire year of pay-per-views as a 12-month rule, hit and miss.
Yeah.
So, except for Mania. So, JJ, I know you officially became a fan in '98 around SummerSlam. Was the first Rumble you watched live '99?
No, the first one I watched live, I think, was 2000.
Not a bad one.
Because I was, up until I want to say Backlash '99, we were getting videotapes given to us like a day or two after the event to kind of watch and see what happened.
Right.
As far as not live, that's a tough one because once I got in, I got all in. Right. And I would start buying VHSs. I would go to the local video store, rent, bring home, dub. So there's a whole lot of possibilities because I know at one point I owned the 98 Rumble, the 97 Rumble, the 1990 Rumble, which was actually the person that asked the question. Stop it. You wanted me to run the studio. The gentleman that submitted the question said 1990 for him, or it was 92. It was one of those four. Was the first I physically saw, but 2000 was the first one that I watched live in real time as it happened.
Nice. Mr. Mansfield, how about you?
So the first one I watched Okay, live, my first one was 2018. And I shit you not, I jumped off the couch like crazy when Rey Mysterio's music hit.
Right.
That was a big pop. And then 2018 is my favorite Rumble ever, period. That last 6, old school versus new school, chef's kiss. My first ever Rumble I watched on DVD was I got for Christmas in that year was the 2010 Rumble.
Nice. Good
Which
Rumble.
is my second favorite Rumble ever.
I gotta say, before we throw it over to Noah to answer this question, since he just joined the group, welcome, Noah. We all know that I stopped watching pretty much in 2014, but I gotta say, if I had been watching in the 2016 Rumble came around and AJ Styles had finally made his debut, they would have been calling the police on me. Because they would have thought that I was killing somebody. I would have been going that ape shit because, as Jeff mentioned earlier, you know, people that know us and know our time in the indies, know our time going to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, basically Ring of Honor West Coast, know how much we were like engulfed in those TNA stars that came to our little dusty sweat box every month. AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Chris Sabin, P.D. Williams,
Frankie
Kazarian, yeah.
Although Frankie was local boy anyway, so you know.
Noah, what's the first Rumble pay-per-view you watched? Let's get you in on the conversation at hand here.
Well, I'm going to cut off real quick because I just want to say we brought up before Noah came in this topic of the most shocking moment in Rumble history. I'll tell you what, seeing AJ Styles on a WWE pay-per-view was pretty goddamn shocking to me.
So. That's kind of hard to top, in my opinion, considering how much I followed AJ Styles through TNA, through NJPW. The man's done it all, and I was like, number 3, and I hear this music, and then I see Roman Reigns' face. I hear the crowd pop. I see the guy coming out in the hood. I'm like, wait, I recognize that stance. Holy shit, it's AJ Styles. I think this day, in my 29, near 30 years as a pro wrestling fan, that definitely is probably my biggest Royal Rumble pop moment. The one before that was probably when John Cena showed up at number 30 and even shocked the hell out of Triple H.
We talked about that one earlier. That was
I figured you did. Again, there's immortal Royal Rumble moments we could all share here because no matter how you feel about the structure of the WWE and its predictability and its approach, its star making, blah, 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 at least the Royal Rumble does give you some sort of sense of suspense. And that's why we engage it in the way that we are now. Now, next pay-per-view will be a whole different story.
That's why the Rumble is my favorite event of the year because there's...
I like the way you think.
It's why I said on Noah's stream the other day, if WrestleMania is our Super Bowl, the Royal Rumble is our Christmas.
Well, there you go. Gifts galore in less than 24 hours. As far as the very first one I watched, it's easier for me to figure out one from memory versus when I was born because I was born, of course, in February 1992, just after that Royal Rumble, which I know was a super huge one for a number of reasons. Yes. That being said, as far as the one I recognize and remember the most, is 2001 for me with Stone Cold Steve Austin winning that, and then Drew Carey, of course, getting nearly choked on my cane, which was a hilarious moment. I'm like, really, Drew? What the freaking hell were you thinking going into the Royal Rumble?
You know, and
the sheer idea of him in the ring by himself, and he could have been the guy. Hail to the no.
And as much as we praise Raven, what was he thinking for stopping Kane? Like, come on, Raven, you should have just let him choke slam him through the ring.
Agree, man. Agree. Missed opportunity, to say the least. But yeah, when Rock and Stone Cold finally got it on, and the two of them were in the ring, and Stone Cold bleeding buckets after the assault by Triple H, and it literally came down to him and Kane in the end, and he just couldn't get that big son of a bitch out of the ring, it seemed, until he clotheslined him like 4 damn times. And when it finally happened and that pop, because again, growing up, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the guy for me next to Shawn Michaels and Triple H in that order. with Stone Cold that won that was just like, oh, here we freaking go. So yeah, that definitely for me is the first one I remember the most. That is a standout for me as a fan.
So here, I have a quick Rumble question. Let's get to this real quick. Cena and Styles are the two best surprises for most fans, in my opinion. Yeah, flat out. I put Edge and Rey Mysterio in there.
Yeah, I
both
think
of Edges.
Yeah,
and I'm going to say Christian as well. Last year, like that was completely out of the blue. No word on anything from anyone. I screamed my head off here.
It was definitely a surprise to say the least. I will say,
I gotta say though, those are good for the men. 2018, hearing Lita's music hit brought tears to my eye.
Yeah.
She
I will say
the Raw 1000
first women's Rumble.
25.
That first women's Rumble brought a lot of, I feel, emotion for a number of reasons, despite, Stephanie on commentary. There was some great surprises during that, too, about some old school female athletes. We were glad to see, again, mix it up with some of the current NXT talent. Shout out to the four women, of course, of NXT. And, again, Lita mixing it up with Sasha Banks, for example, and I think it was Becky in the early part of that Rumble was pretty darn cool. I think Trish Stratus, Sasha Banks, darn, I wish that match happened, was freaking awesome the way that got teased. And Trish was the one, of course, that eliminated Sasha. Ooh.
Yeah.
But, so, because again, Trish Stratus, Lita, they're two of the freaking pioneers. I don't give a damn what anybody says. And then as far as...
agree with you.
As far as other Women Royal Rumbles go, like the more recent ones, one for me that definitely was surprised to see back, Victoria. I was very, I thought she had a great showing too. I've always been a fan of Victoria, Tara, whatever the hell you want to call her, whether she was the crazy psycho or whether she was the dominant women's champion at the time. And again, those are just a few that hold a place near and dear to me as a fan. So
Victoria will always hold a special place in my heart because me and my daughter's mom came out to the Inland Empire when we were still in Long Beach to meet her at Living Spaces out here.
Oh, nice.
And we waited in our line and everything. And, there was still a bunch of people. So we didn't want to hog her. We got our thing signed and then we were just going to take a picture with us and her together.
Aww.
And she was like, no. You guys waited. You guys want individual pictures. Let's take that too. So my daughter's mom got one with her and then I got one with her. She made sure to give us the time and the love that we deserved for waiting in her line and doing all that. So she will always hold a special place in my heart. I was working at Walmart this time last year when the Rumble hit, and one of my coworkers was watching it on his phone. When her music hit, I about shit myself. I was so excited that she was coming out. I was running up and down the aisle screaming. The only thing that would have made it better is if she had used her tattoo theme music instead of that. I ain't the lady to mess with.
Agree. I freaking agree. Damn it.
I mean, I know her with that music. So now here's a quick question I got for you. When it comes to Royal Rumble eliminations, which is more shocking to you? Maven eliminating Undertaker in 2002, or Shinsuke actually freaking doing it in 2018 and eliminating Reigns?
Maven eliminating Taker.
Yeah, agreed.
I have to go with Maven because, again, it's Undertaker, and this guy out of nowhere eliminated him, and boy, did Undertaker make sure you remembered why you don't eliminate him from the Royal Rumble.
It's like this dude barely got the ink dry on his Tough Enough contract, and he's drop kicking the Undertaker out of the Royal Rumble. And boy,
got his head beaten.
Did Taker make him remember why he was Big Evil?
Yeah, shoving his head for a popcorn machine.
But then it led to Maven taking the hardcore title from him. What the hell? Again, nothing but love for Maven. He's another one that was always so good to me when I ran into him. But that was just one of those what the hell type of moments where anything can happen in the Royal Rumble. And
There
it's
you
just
go.
one of those reasons why I love it so much.
Yeah, and Santina Morella, of course, being eliminated immediately. I wasn't ready. I remember that. Oh, I did like the Royal Rumble 2007 of HBK and Taker. Yes, that's one of my all-time favorites. Being the last in the Rumble, and then 2008, they are the first to start the Rumble. Then the next 2 years, they have their epic matches. And I still say to this day, WrestleMania 25 was about one match, and that is Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. And that would be one of my top 5 pro wrestling matches of my life to the day I die.
Agreed. Long-term storytelling.
Why the hell they can't do that nowadays? Anyway, continue.
Because these days we're in an age where social media controls our lives, and everyone's got to get the cheap pop and the quick fix. They don't invest into long-term shit. I'm kind of surprised Roman's ran as long as he has. That's the closest they've had to any kind of real long-term storytelling in years, is this run that Roman is on.
And I agree, because when you think about it, Jay, yeah, Brock's had long runs with the titles too, but he's also been in and out of TV.
Yeah,
Roman's been on
TV.
TV. Roman's been on TV every week of these 500 and something days.
Very much.
Which is awesome. And no, we didn't actually start talking about Paige. Oh shit, there goes my camera. Hi. Watch.
Botch.
I
knew I was going to say at least once tonight.
Well, it is open mic night, as you know. So, yeah, we haven't discussed Paige because, honestly, I think we haven't discussed Paige because we still don't know how high her clearance level is compared to Edge's, to Graves, because she's been really downplaying it one way or the other. She's been real quiet about it, which is very unlike Saraya to be quiet about anything. But I would love it if her music hit, even if it's a brief moment, because she's one of those where, like I said, when I got to meet Paige, she was at that point in her life. She was still dealing with the fallout from the leaks, and I met her at SmackDown, and because of the leaks being a thing, and because of her talking about Untold Divas, I got my 15 minutes of fame on E there for a few minutes, which was nice. But she's a genuinely good soul, and the injury is just such a thing to happen to somebody that's such a decent person. I hope she gets at least one more moment.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you figure about when she came in on Raw and got the championship after, the Raw. It was the Raw after WrestleMania against AJ Lee, even though it was that butterfly title at the time. She led the group Absolution. She was a 40 figure for SmackDown. She's a very bright, prominent talent, and I could definitely tell she is a kind individual because one of my good friends here, also named Noah, is one of the biggest Paige fans on the earth, and he literally is just asking at this point, guys, I might have a girlfriend right now. I'm trying to get her into wrestling, but if Paige was up in the Royal Rumble, you damn sure better tell me, because he has been on her Twitch as a moderator and literally has had engagements with her. So definitely, we hope the best for Paige, and I would love to see, especially with the crowd being back, by the way. Think about it. Last year, no crowd. Thunderdome BS. This is actual crowd. Paige coming back to that would be something special.
Same thing if Rhonda comes out.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
If Joan Jett hits, St. Louis is going to melt to the ground. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. That's a wrestling city, too, right there. All right.
Yeah. We called it at 73 together, brother. Wrestling at the Chase, man. So.
The NWA did the special on it. That's how I learned about it. Jeff, you're the reason why I literally am engaged in the NWA, brother.
St. Louis is one of those cities where anytime any wrestling company period goes into St. Louis, there's that aura about the city. So much so, I found it so funny that Dana Brooke, who is a Columbus native, and they have the Blue Jackets about 10 minutes from where she lives. She went to her first hockey game yesterday, and it was at St. Louis. I'm like, Dana, you wrong for that. Columbus, the freaking Blue Jackets need some love here because they don't get near enough love in the media. But whatever. St. Louis also won the Cup recently-ish, so I get it. They're in St. Louis for the Rumble. St. Louis has a bigger buzz about them right now, period, in hockey. So okay, fine. But yeah, it was cool to. I always JJ knows because I'm the one that got him into his first real hockey game. I love when people get introduced to hockey for the first time. That makes my day. So that was cool to see Dave.
Well, I've never been to a hockey game, so Jeff, good luck trying that with me if we ever meet.
I will tell you this right now: if I ever do take the jump and go into Ohio and see basically the entire NoDQ team that's there, because like you're all there at this point, we're gonna hit a Columbus Blue Jackets game. We're gonna go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I missed that last time I was out in Cleveland on purpose. And yeah, we're gonna do the things.
I'm up for it. I'll tell you this: I have not really gone out of Toledo since like my whole life, except for a couple of years back where I first met, of course, Caitlin, and really became, engaged with all of you fine, incredible people of NoDQ. And hey, the rest is history. And then first vacation in Toronto, what I mostly do, pro wrestling. I saw Ring of Honor, I saw NXT TakeOver, I saw Slam Slam, and then I engaged with, the few true of Team NoDQ. So hopefully next vacay is more of a get-together to actually, maybe you all can adapt me to what it means to be socially outgoing beyond professional wrestling too. But good luck with that.
Well, what I would actually love to see happen, and again, this is long-term booking, Jeff. WrestleMania's here next year. The main person in the group of us, and I mean the entire circle, driving, whatever, that doesn't do that is me. But WrestleMania is an hour down the way transit, unless my dad goes and I get to drive to Inglewood, which is even better. But all of you who have more money than my ass can fly here, take the train here, take the bus here, whatever. I would love, and plus it's my 40th birthday celebration. So if we were all together for that, within that month between my birthday and Mania, that would make my day also. Just to have some sort of social interaction around this dreaded day where I cross into old age, because fucking hell.
When's your birthday again?
March 1st.
When's WrestleMania in Hollywood?
Right now it's set for
probably.
Well, it's set for whatever the first Sunday in April is. I think it's either the 2nd or the 3rd. But my theory is they're probably going to have it be 2 nights, so it'll be April 1st and 2nd.
It's April Fool's, Jeff. Just saying.
Right, I know.
My birthday's the day after that.
Well, no, the freaking April Fool will be if they actually let us pay one price for 2 nights.
Yeah, that'll be the day. So I got back here, just while we've been talking, rambling.
Yeah.
What about Wade Barrett and other former Nexus members of the Royal Rumble? Well, let's go ahead and run down the gauntlet, shall we? Fred Rosser's in NJPW strong. Nobody knows what happened to the rest of most of the Nexus members. Wade Barrett's a commentator for NXT 2.0. Heath is back with Rhino in Impact Wrestling.
How about Skippy Flyback?
The return of Husky Harris.
All right, that's going too far. But as far as Wade Barrett, I wouldn't mind hearing the boom again, or even him coming out saying, "I'm afraid I've got some bad news." I wouldn't mind hearing that again. So I wouldn't rule that out. But I think it really comes down to how nostalgic they want to be in this Royal Rumble, and they've already announced like 15 or 18 of the men already.
Right. And the next comment, Jay. Yeah, I was going to say thank you. And leave that comment up while I do this. Alex, Jesus Christ Almighty. There we go. All right.
I got you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Down for the two count.
Alex, this was last night's Impact at broadcast, and unfortunately the comments blocked the best part of this picture. That's okay.
You can rectify that.
I love you, Mickey. There we hey-oh. Anyway, she came out last night and flat out said, I'm going to be walking into the Rumble with my title on my shoulder and playing hardcore country. And she wants to, within the context of the storyline, walk into WrestleMania and face the WWE Women's Champion, whichever one she chooses, as the Impact Champion. Now, are we going to see that? Probably not. Or is it likely she's going to be number 1 or 2, like Josh said? More than likely. But I'd be okay if either of the things happen. I want her to come out there and be like, I'm glad to be back here. And I find it ironic that the city where Empower and NWA 73 took place is where she's returning to the WWE ring. For the record.
Right.
Just saying. St. Louis is this cosmic mystic center of everything for Mickey. And that's great.
It's a city I need to go see for sure for pro wrestling. It's on my pro wrestling road trip. Travel guy.
And see, the thing is, her husband trained with Harley in St. Louis. So
right.
It's all just there together. But the moment for Mickey will be walking out. It's like, I appreciate being welcome back, but here's the thing, guys. You sent me a effing trash bag on my way out. Here's the other company's title. Here's the other company's song. Stick it up your federation ass. Here we go. Let's effing go.
Here's the thing. Oh, go, Jay. You go, JJ.
Go ahead, Josh.
Which Jay's gonna go first?
Here's the thing. The fact that WWE has not told them to like not say stuff like that, or to not say, "Hey, you know, we're in this company. We're going to be in the main event of your company." The fact that WWE has not like told them, "Hey, don't say that you're not going to be that you're going to be doing stuff after the Rumble."
Right.
Like the fact that she flat out said, "I'm going to be champion versus champion at WrestleMania." On Impact, the fact that WWE allowed that phrase to come out of her mouth,
and
the fact that, because you would have thought WWE would have been like, yes, you can come, bring your title, bring her song, but you can't say these things, you know, during your promos about it on Impact. The fact that you're letting it gives you that sense of maybe.
JJ and I talked about this the other night when we were talking out there doing our dad's recordings. And I talked about it last night at dinner. With WrestleMania getting close to turning the Big 4-0 itself, let's not forget that.
Yes.
I would honestly not be surprised if either 39 when it's here or 40, wherever it ends up being, literally ends up being what WrestleMania 1 was supposed to be. The Super Bowl of wrestling. The best from each conference or brand, or in this case, company, where we have Impact talent, NWA talent, Ring of Honor talent, AEW talent, whatever the case may be. And I will say this right now, I will make the hot take, and as I make the hot take, we're going to go to break, Jay, with the video after I'm done saying this. It would not surprise me at all. I'm sorry?
The one you private messaged me?
Yeah. If that happens, if we get an actual Super Bowl where everybody's involved, then do not be surprised for one moment if that's the day that Vince finally allows himself to step away.
Yep.
Just so you guys know, here's what's coming up this week after the Rumble and into February and beyond on the Jeff Meacham Network. All right. So let's talk about that for a minute. Because JJ knew about the surprise bookings. I haven't told anybody else about it yet, but let's let's go ahead and run through these. Let's see where we're at here. I'm trying to see where we're at. So first of all, February 3rd, the big red background on the image, Jay. A lot of you aren't going to know this name unless you've been following me forever. Yeah, there you go. Back when I first started doing Rocky Horror at the New Art Theater here in Los Angeles, Mark was our theater manager. He was with us every step of the way. And if you're familiar with the show Freaks and Geeks, he was a regular on that show back in the day. He's one of those, like, he's been in Hollywood forever. And I've always wanted to pick his brain on the podcast. And it just never occurred to me to, hey, come on. He's going to be on with us Thursday night, which is going to be a lot of fun. And the reason I used the lettering I did there on the graphic is because the white lettering is the Rocky Horror aesthetic, obviously. And I use the NWO font because there's legendary pictures somewhere on social media, I can't find it now, of Mark on stage doing one of his famous pre-show promos, pointing at me, and he's wearing a Wolfpack shirt. So there you go. Can't find it now. Do the band I showed you with the NWO shirt. There you go. We Are Wasted. I actually saw these guys last night when I went to help out do merch for Paradise Kitty. They were on right before the Kitties, and not only did they come out wearing those shirts, which are NWO stylized, they actually got booked on the Jericho Cruise when it happens next year, because it got postponed, obviously. So they're going to be on the Jericho Cruise next year, and they did a song in tribute to Jericho called Jericho Jericho. And the next thing I hear out of the lead singer's mouth is, "Who here's a real American?" And I'm like, this isn't going to end well. We heard a full-on punk/metal version of Real American, and yes, it's on their Spotify. You must hear this thing. It is obscenely hysterical and great. So much so that one of my buddies that knows I'm a wrestling fan ran up the stairs at the Whiskey. You ever been to the Whiskey going in Hollywood? Those steps are not easily runnable. Hey, Mage. And he's doing the thing. I'm like, yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks. Appreciate that. So, you dick. And if you're watching Mike, you're still a dick from yesterday. Anyway, but he'll actually be at the watch along. He's going to watch our watch along tomorrow. Noah. But, all
right.
So yeah, they're going to be on the podcast. I found out they all live up here. They're Santa Clarita boys. So as big as this world gets, I go on the Jericho Cruise into the Bahamas. They're going there next year. It just gets smaller and smaller every time. So there was that. Throw the one about Lizzie, because I've kind of talked about that kind of half-assed about Lizzie being on. I really haven't gone in depth about it. So if you're not familiar with Lizzie Valentine, she was on Wrestling Society X when it was a thing there for about 10 minutes. But she's been in wrestling and out of wrestling now for a while as well. But she was also with us when we did the World Independent Ladies Division about a decade ago now. And I'll share the anniversary her and I share. That picture in the corner is a big hint what it is, but we'll talk about when she's on in July. But yeah, it's one of those where a mutual friend of ours lost his job within wrestling not too long ago. And after I talked to him, I was like, I haven't talked to Lizzie in a while. So I talked to Lizzie. Hey, are you available? She's like, yeah, just let me know close to the date. Okay, cool. All right, now the one I'm sure everybody made shit their pants. Go ahead and throw up the graphic of the two new guests I announced. I've been talking with both of them for a while.
One of them together.
Yeah. Oh no.
You uploaded their individual.
Yeah. Go ahead and do Velvet first. That's fine. Everybody knows Velvet Sky in this room. Everybody knows Velvet Sky in wrestling. She's one of the best people ever. Actually been in contact with her a lot since she joined the NWA as a commentator, and just been chatting back and forth. And I was like, hey, been wanting to interview you for a while. What's your schedule like? And she's got one of those brand army sites that she's launching. Like, she's done one. Both of the Inspiration Girls have done one.
Yes, Cassie Lee.
Cassie and Jesse. But Summer Rae actually just launched hers this week. I'm a free subscriber on that one, so her and I are starting to talk, which hopefully we get her on too. But yeah, that was just like, hey, just once this site gets entrenched enough where I'm not, going every day trying to get shit together, we'll talk. And the date I have tentatively scheduled for her falls on a milestone for her too. So we're trying to, that's why I didn't put dates on either her or Danielle, because I had tentative dates booked, but I didn't want to go, hey, it's happening, and then it not happen. Because as you saw with the dad's things, announcing dates is a dangerous thing with me.
That's why you put the tiny subtext, Jeff, date subject to change in case you do put a date, because again, time could be your worst enemy.
Yeah, which is
Card
why
subject to change.
Yeah,
Wrestling promoters,
we were wasting
words.
Yes. Yeah. We Are Wasted is scheduled for February 10th because they have the show in Simi, but we're going to record that thing like next Tuesday just because our schedules are crazy. All right, Miss Danielle. Okay. So a lot of you know that I've been really kind of like, let me hang on a second. There we go. So a lot of you know that I've been really like getting deeply immersed in the Halloween universe and I'm just like, I'm up Danielle's butt. Hi, how are you? Anyway, don't mind me. Appreciate that. So, that was just too funny. Anyway, so Danielle and I have been talking quite a bit. I actually arranged a cameo for a friend of mine at the time. That was 2 years ago, right, Jay?
Think so, yeah.
If we did that, yeah. Actually, DJ and I did that together. We actually paid for that one together. One of our mutual friends had she had a milestone. She turned 30, and we went ahead and paid for a cameo with Danielle, and she was so cute. Danielle did it with her kid, and it was such a beautiful moment that we did. And then her and I have been talking off and on since. Actually, when she did a watch along of Halloween 2, which, you know, Rob Zombie's Halloweens are what they are for a lot of people. I like them. I know a lot of people don't. So
I'm indifferent. I don't watch movies.
Right, exactly. So when we were watching Halloween 2 on Danielle's Patreon, myself and Scott Taylor Compton had a moment because we're both Cincinnati origins because of my family, my dad's family being from Cincinnati. We had a Skyline Chili moment. So her and I are going to be talking here in the next few weeks, but Danielle and I just always kept in contact. And finally, I just messaged her. It's like, hey, I've been talking with Scout for a month. You and I haven't talked about this. What's your schedule like? And she goes, well, we're actually moving. But, you know, what are you looking at? I said, well, I'm looking for the new date. And she goes, get back to me. We'll definitely put it. We'll definitely put it in pencil. We'll put it in ink when we get closer. I said, okay, cool. I said, can I announce it? She goes, yeah, announce what the fuck you want. Just make sure you don't announce your date because I didn't have a date set. I'm like, okay. So yeah, for everybody that's talked about the Halloween panel not happening the last 2 years, not only am I going to get her on the show as a one-on-one interview, I might be able to get her into that panel room, which would be awesome to have a Halloween Myers story legend in that room with us. Holy balls. Okay, let's see. Where are we at here on the graphics here? As far as previews,
out.
right? Okay, so that's really it as far as the stuff you guys didn't know about. Again, you know, the Rumble watch-alongs tomorrow, which is going to be such a fun experience. I always enjoy doing that, especially when it's a Big Four or another pay-per-view. Like, I didn't put the graphic in there, but, you know, Noah and I are going to do the No Surrender one on the day they're doing the pay-per-view in Saudi because I don't want to watch Saudi pay-per-view. I want to watch Impact pay-per-view. So that's what we're going to do.
Hey!
Because No Surrender always tends to be a good little slideshow that they do. It's a fun night.
It usually is.
But, you know, the Rumble is the Rumble. Noah and James, to a lesser extent, but he said too, as long as it's a Big Four or Big Five, he'll do his best to commentate because the Big Four always tend to deliver. So,
if nothing else, Royal Rumble and WrestleMania out of the Big Four because let's be honest, Survivor Series kind of lost its luster.
Survivor Series, honestly, was only last time it was actually like great to watch, other than when the NXT guys came in, was when I was there live with Aaron in 18. Like that was awesome because we were there. Like Rumble's only like not like one of my things because I haven't checked it off the live list yet. I'm trying to, but it's not. And of course, Money in the Bank is now officially the Big Five because that's going to be at Allegiant Stadium this coming year. So. But yeah, Rumble's going to be fun. There's a lot of good stuff coming up. And again, if you're a fan of Stat Boy Sports Bar, which I know the majority of us in here are, or at least they try to watch often enough, get in contact with Mikey, get in contact with me. There's where the grid stands right now as far as Super Bowl squares. I think we even sold even more at this point. I'm not really sure. I think it's the updated one I have at the moment. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sorry, Mikey, if you're watching. I know it's past midnight there, so you're probably not. But this weekend's going to check off two of those teams off that grid. We're going to either have the Rams or the Niners, and then the Bengals or the Chiefs. So it really is going to come down to what happens this weekend. We all know what Jeff's hoping for because he's an LA boy who has origins in Cincinnati. So there's that. But you know, if it ends up being the Niners and the Chiefs, then I'll gladly let somebody else host the post celebration party. Good on them.
I'm going in blind here, but I have no idea what's going on. So I'll just say this: Bengals versus Chiefs.
Well, they can't.
That's this Sunday.
Yeah,
that's the AFC Championship.
Oh, that's what that. Oh, I see. It's literally like vertical and horizontal. I don't know. What
we have to remember that when we're talking to Noah about sports, like talking to Rift. Anyway,
I was about to say that.
Yeah. So
I
basically,
that
Noah,
what it is.
So basically, Noah, the teams on the left are the AFC Championship game this weekend, and then the teams going horizontal are the NFC Championship game. The winners of those two games meet on February 13th.
Okay.
Go Niners.
and also, what's cool about the Rams being there is if the Rams win and go to the Super Bowl, it'll be the second year in a row that the host of the Super Bowl is playing the Super Bowl.
And they're hosting the NFC Championship too.
Exactly. So
two weekends in a row.
So yeah,
I mean, I'll just go with my state with nothing else. As long as they're in the Super Bowl, I guess that's a good thing. Ohio represents. So good luck, Bengals.
There you go.
No,
and Josh is done with your ass.
Josh, you realize that doesn't affect me, right? I don't watch sports.
Okay. These
I
two know why
I
I'm
watch
rooting
pro
for the
wrestling. I don't watch
49ers.
football.
Hey, I have a personal reason for rooting for the 49ers. Members of my church own the team. So, of my actual church in Youngstown own the team.
Which Noah can relate to better than anybody else in the room. So there you go.
Yes. So I'm rooting for my team, the 49ers.
But I would just say this. Noah, I would just say this. So Josh made a good point. I can't do what I'm doing. So we'll get the NFC Championship. If they win, we'll get the Super Bowl, and the next year we get Mania. That'd be awesome. Anyway, JJ, you had your hand up.
I'm just trying to bring it back to where we were before the commercial break.
Yes, you were about to talk on the Rumble, and you had me go instead, so you go.
Yes, we were talking about this topic here, and Mickey coming out, challenging, giving that promo on Impact about how she wants to challenge. Who would you guys rather see her go up against? Becky or Charlotte?
Charlotte. And only because I want to see Ronda and Becky. I want that thing to be paid off.
It has to. Look, this has to happen, all right? It has to be. If they are literally going to pull the trigger and bring Ronda Rousey back, that has to be. No other situation. So it has to be Charlotte. She's the only one at this point that doesn't even have a realistic challenger. And with what I heard on SmackDown tonight, looks like they don't even know what they're going to do with her.
Right. Well, here's my argument with Sasha coming back now. Like I said, if Ronda's in the Rumble, she's winning. There's no doubt in my mind.
Period. Absolutely.
But which would mean Charlotte doesn't have a match at WrestleMania as of the moment. Do we really put her and Sasha in the ring again? Granted, they always shine, they always do well, but they've never had a one-on-one match at Mania. Or do we go with, hey, let's throw a freaking wrench in the works. Let's see how they pop when we actually do give them champion versus champion and have Mickey go anyway.
It's a weird. Yeah.
And then there's always this. I mean, nobody's talked about Camille crossing the line at any point for this Rumble thing. Now, granted, it's the NWA, other than Mickie James, the fact that we know that Mickie James is an NWA executive producer and married to the most prevalent NWA champion of this era, the NWA hasn't been talked about much as far as this Forbidden Door stuff. So if Camille walks out there, I know I will pop like a mucker father. I know you will. And so it'd be great to see her. It really would.
Well, I mean, at this point, there's nobody right now that can pretty much break the foundation that is the brick house of the NWA. Camille is unmatched.
Yeah. And when you figure that her connection to who she's connected to in the NWA, if she gets a presence on television, they'll be talking about Latimer. They'll be talking about the Masterpiece. They'll be talking about their connection to Aldous and everything. It would just be friggin' awesome. And yes, Chris, I do agree. They're probably not going to have a alumni, come back and make the big presence moment other than Mickey already being announced, right? So, Camille's definitely not an alumni. She's only been on the national stage within the NWA. So there's that option. You can option her on that. And Report Card Radio, it's good to see you. I know Mike's in there watching the show, so thank you, brother. Again, the invite is there. I haven't created the StreamYard room yet. Once I do, everybody gets an invite. I can have up to 10 people in the room, and I will have the computer back here tomorrow. It's just tonight I had dinner in my hand and my tray here at about 10 till 8. I went, oh shit. So it was kind of here we go. which is why Jay's running the room.
Just shoot the breeze, just go with the wind.
Well, I figured open mic night lends itself to just say, F it, let's just, here we go. Let's just do the thing.
Right.
The Rumble deserves, put my green screen up, scoot my fat ass back. They're actually like, hey, look, we're professional today. Like today it's like, whatever. It's Friday. Y'all ain't got no kids. Our kids aren't with us. We ain't got shit to do. So
it's Friday. You know what that means. You just do whatever the hell you want. So there you go.
By the way, I have to say, as annoyed with it as I was for the first month after he passed, I love that we can use Brody's phrase any day of the week, because I always have something going on a given day on the network, which it's Friday. You know what that means? It's Cyber Monday. It's Friday. It's time for dad. It's great. I love that shit. It's great. And because we are on Wednesdays with Greg Cherry Show, he can literally say it's Wednesday. You know what that means? Right as we start the show. It's beautiful. So, Brody,
the reason why I open up my tweets on Wednesdays and Fridays, particularly about in the name of him.
Yep. And it's like, so Brody, thank you for the ability to be lazy for the first 2 minutes of my shows. I appreciate that very much. It's all good.
Yeah. And speaking of Brody, did anyone? It only just started showing up on social media last week. His wife's huge long tribute post that she did, where she talked about, okay, real quick, Cody and Big E just get all the things forever, all the things.
Yeah,
faces in my book forever.
Yeah, it's one of those where I've had a very hard time with the people backlashing on Cody the last year because of whatever they were back. It's because, again, I had this thought in the car on the way home, so I'm going to try not to get too fucking verklempt again here. But having Dusty on the podcast we did all those years ago, back when I was still wet behind the ears and younger than Josh was probably a fetus when we interviewed Dusty. Just saying.
All right.
Probably not far off, unfortunately, for my old ass, but as JJ goes, I'm older than you. Shut up, Jeff. Yes, I know. Thank you. Anyway, just saying. But having been able to get close with the Rhodes is, talking with Dustin, talking with Cody all these years, it's it really when they were shitting on him. So I'm glad that he was able to be, reacting to, John's wife's post and everything. It was just so good. And of course, E has always been at the forefront of WWE talent, who has been so just drastically affected by Brody's passing. So and again, I would have put whatever money I do have, which right now is about 45 cents, but it is what it is, that Big E would have been the one in New Day that was not going to be a world champion. And I am so damn glad I was wrong about that, because he was a tremendous champion. He will be a tremendous champion again. Let me say that right now.
And I agree.
But again, it's one of those where people forget that it is true. Genuine, decent human beings still do exist in wrestling.
Shocking, right?
And Cody and Dustin, it's both those boys. And you know what? The thing with Cody and Dustin, they was raised right.
Yeah, it comes back to the friggin' parents and adults and the 40 figures and liars that don't know a damn discipline from a social media app. Oh, here you go, kid.
Dusty, again, Dusty wasn't around a lot for Dustin's childhood, but that's been gone over ad nauseum on multiple documentaries and multiple books, whatever. But at the end of the day, they came together later in life. Dusty was a big influence on Cody. The whole thing at NWA 70 and All In was just such a moment for all of us, being Dusty disciples, Dusty fans, Dusty friends. It was just such a pure moment. And it's gratifying to see that as much as people think Cody's got a big head about himself, it's like, you know what? Let me tell you something, Mucker Brothers. Cody didn't have to leave WWE and literally go all in on, betting on himself and his friends. And he did it anyway. And people will like AEW. They will shit on AEW. They will call AEW fans cultists. Virtue, you're a dick for that. I'm saying it right here and now, and I mean it. But I will forever be a fan of Cody Runnels and Brandy Runnels and Dustin Runnels, and his daughter Dakota is awesome. And Terry, I go back and forth with Terry. I like her personally. She was always good to me and mine. She just goes a little crazy on the social media stuff, but that whole circle of people have always done good by me and mine. So anytime I see people just shitting on Cody for the sake of shitting on Cody, you can please feel free to, once you're done shitting on Cody, step to the left and bend over and kiss my big fat ginger ass for doing it, because fuck you for doing it. Okay. And again, as far as E goes, I was always convinced that E was just this big, goofy guy or whatever. It took, and again, this is going to sound like I'm kissing ass, and maybe I am. When I saw the documentary about Big E on the network or Peacock, wherever it was at that point, and they were showing him working out in John's gym, and John put him over like John owed him money. Like, you can't get more of a praise than John Cena praising your work ethic in the gym, let alone the ring, and then talking about how good a person he's always been. John Cena does not go, hey, that dude's a solid dude, with any light intent. He says what he means, and he means what he says. He always has, he always will, whatever people think on social media. Okay? So those two people are awesome. They will be awesome in my book until, somebody dictates otherwise to me. Now, okay, let me get off soapbox, and we'll get to Cycle's comment.
Well
Is
done.
one of the appeals of the Rumble wrestlers the casual fans have never seen before showing up and making an impact. It's not just nostalgia and current stars participating.
I would say it used to be that way.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
more
it
so
hasn't
in the
been that way in a
past.
long time.
No. And that's a product of WWE's presentation. They have tried to, and again, it's how they've always done things. We've just been more critical of it in the social media / internet age.
Exactly.
WWE is about presenting WWE first and foremost. Yes, every year they show that big long, clip of, Rumble by the numbers, and they mention everybody except the B word when they talk about Rumble people. But it's about what has happened before and the unexpectedness of what can happen tonight. And yes, the nostalgia people coming back, the last couple of years has really been more going back to the, oh, hey, he was a star when I watched back in 98, 99, whatever. That's cool to see him back. But during the meat and the heart of the Ruthless Aggression era, that got phased out relatively quietly and relatively quickly. Because you figure there wasn't a whole lot of oh shit moments other than like the guy that won, like Cena coming back in 08, like Edge coming back in 2010. I will say that seeing Piper and Snuka at the Garden was pretty friggin' awesome. I love they included Michael Buffer in that show, which, if you were a WCW fan like I was, or if you were throwing up, the For Life like I was, Michael Buffer's like, all right, that's our guy. Here we go. Good shit.
That is Mr. Rumble right there.
Yeah, and Michael Buffer being in the Garden and announcing instead of Finkel, because Finkel was already starting to, slip away at that point. But even still, the fact that it was the Garden and it wasn't Finkel, it's like, okay, what do we do here? It's like oh wait, Michael Buffer's available. Let's just do that. Okay, that's great. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that the Rumble is a product of Pat Patterson's ridiculously creative brain, and
yes.
We have had a Rumble since Pat passed away, which was last year's. But again, Pat's one of those where I got to meet him once, and it wasn't near enough because Pat was such another one of those pioneering people, more than we all knew, apparently, as we went on. I mean, it was the worst kept secret in the history of wrestling. I mean, JR even goofed on him on commentary. He's single, fellas. It's like, it's a hot take in 98, but, it's like, okay now. But Pat was always one of those genuinely cool people. And he always, and again, there was a lot of accusations on him in the 90s, which unfortunately for the internet age, retroactive condemning is a mucker further. I've said that many times on my shows. But at the end of the day, Pat will always be recognized for my money as a creative genius, a great finish man, which if you know what that means, you know what that means. The fact that the Rumble's his baby and it will always endure because it is better than your average battle royal. Battle royal, you throw 20 guys and hulking guys and less material than Mickey James had on Impact last night. It's like, okay, it's cool, like big, but the countdown and now with the music being a part of the Rumble countdown, it just pops like crazy. What's really funny to me is the first Rumble to have music with the countdowns, the guys coming out, was 95. Not having the music with Flair in 92 was great because we didn't know he was coming out. And when you see him pass through the curtain, Bobby just, oh, damn it. It's like, because he knows there's no way he's going to win. He's got to go 60. And Bobby's just so like, oh, down the train.
Bobby, irate.
Yeah, that's why for me. That's why for me, if you want to be fair to Flair, you got to be fair to Flair. That Rumble between the match, the layout, the order of entry, the way the people came in, and of course the commentary. That entire Rumble is actually pretty good, but the match itself will always be the best. I know Greg has his rankings, and I will definitely watch them again when he does the 2022 and 2021 inclusions. But for you guys out there, the three of you and all of you watching, what is your favorite Royal Rumble match? And I'll start with the man that came in late because I definitely want to hear his reactions and his opinions. And just because he's dressed like Orange Cassidy, and I love Orange Cassidy forever after the Jericho Cruise, I have to just keep bringing that shit up because I made it past bed with him at 5 a.m. It was just a thing. Anyway, go ahead, Noah.
Whatever. That being said,
I
think we talked.
Zero selling of the meat. I got you. Okay, very good.
Okay. Anyway, what was it called? Oh yeah, Royal Rumble. Again, it's one of those things where I forgot. Again, I was born in 1992. That is one of the most synonymous Royal Rumbles, as you alluded to, in history. Yeah. And why it might be easy for me to say, 1992, because I was born that year and I remember Ric Flair and of course everything about it. I was literally not even 1 year old when that freaking thing happened, and it was literally a few days after I was born. Again, one of the most synonymous with me as a fan, Royal Rumbles, as a couple, being a lifelong fan of one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, people in the industry, Shawn Michaels. Seeing Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, how far they took their feud and how it really came to fruition at the end of that Rumble when it was just those two. It's that Royal Rumble right there for me that I feel like is bigger for me as a fan and probably one of my favorites overall because of the fact that it wasn't just Rumble. It was literally a long contested post. Almost felt like a one-on-one match, except for the fact you couldn't pin or submit the guy. You had to send him over the top rope. And there were times where these two were literally on the apron for a period of time, and they still couldn't do it. And then both men are down again. They're back at it. I was like, just keep going. Keep going. I don't need a clock. Just keep this thing going. I don't want this to end. And then I saw what it led to. So, again, we could talk about it all night, but I'm going to keep it simple. It's definitely, I believe the year for that was Royal Rumble 2007, because 2008, of course, was John Cena. So I think for me, still, my favorite is Royal Rumble 2007. Not just the Rumble either. I actually enjoyed that preview to a degree, and R.I.P. Umaga.
Yes. Josh.
I think I have to go with 2018. That one, because that was the first one I watched live.
Now, men's or women's Rumble match? I'm asking about the match here. So men's or women's in the night? Okay.
Men's. First Rumble I watched live. Just popping for Rey Mysterio, popping for the Hurricane. That final 6 of old school versus new school. Just so good. It slightly edges out over 2010 for me. Just slightly. But that one, especially with Nakamura winning over Reigns. Even though I have Edge as one of my top 5 of all time superstars, I gotta go 2018 because that was just so good.
So, Jay, but before I ask you yours, because people, I don't get to say a lot about this about JJ. Much like Greg, the Rumble is his night too. It's his favorite show of the year. It's his favorite match of the year. But before we get to his reveal, let me ask the room: is Nakamura's cash-in at Mania and subsequent feud with AJ one of the most disappointing damn things we've ever seen in my life? Oh my God!
Yes, it was. I watched NJPW. Do you not watch Wrestle Kingdom and see the match? Compare and contrast.
No, because Vince McMahon. That's why.
Oh man, seriously, I would have had half the quality of their Wrestle Kingdom match. I'd have been so much better than that bullshit they gave us. Oi. Anyway,
and the funny thing is that Hunter probably signed them based on that Wrestle Kingdom match.
Oh, no doubt.
And then you get a Vince-style match.
That's the problem with, and again, Heyman said it best on Punk's documentary. They signed Punk because he had a buzz, and they didn't know what the hell to do with him afterwards. Which is why he sat in the OVW for 2 years or whatever it was. Yes, actually it was. And I'll say that because much like Goldberg, and again, I'm not comparing Asuka to Goldberg because I think in the world of Asuka, I think she's wonderful.
Agree.
The streaks are a dead end. Unless it's Undertaker's, the actual match streaks are a dead end. Complete dead end. Because you have to get out of them eventually. And there's no right way to do it. Because even if they do pull it correctly where they do have Goldberg lose to Nash because of Scott Hall and the Wolfpack and the Black and White reform, if all those guys stay healthy, that's a hell of a year or a half a year to carry WCW through. Because you figure you got the Elite plus Disco because Glenn's Elite. Yeah, right. Anyway, you know what? Sorry, I shit on Glenn Gilbert way too much. I really shouldn't. I'm sorry. You have a half a year to carry you through a storyline because you start with Scott Hall like you did for real in '99, and then you end with Hogan at Bash at the Beach and Goldberg gets the title back. If they stay healthy. It's the same thing with Asuka. She did exactly what they needed to do. She was so dominant in NXT that she retired as champion and went to the main roster. And the thing is, Goldberg's streak, when it was going, like, they really didn't. I mean, yeah, technically he did win the NWO Battle Royal and Surges, but it really wasn't like one of the, oh my God, he won this in the, like, it was always one-on-one matches with the streak. They let Asuka remain undefeated by winning the Rumble. It's like, and again, the thing is, her moment was completely outshined by Ronda Rousey's debut. If Ronda doesn't debut that night, I dare say Asuka may have defeated Charlotte. But they went with what they went with. Was it disappointing? Absolutely. It really was. But it was nowhere near disappointing for us long-term global fans who had watched Nakamura, who had watched Styles, and realized what could have been. And they take the easy out of AJ wins, and Nakamura gets bitter critter about it, and hits him in the groin. It's like, really? That was. It wasn't disappointing. It was heartbreaking to see that, how that laid out ultimately. Asuka losing to Charlotte may have derailed her, and over the course of the last 4 years, she's definitely had a little bit of shine off the polish in the last 4 years, but I still think she can come back now from this latest, injury recovery and still come back and whoop ass again. Whereas Nakamura, I forget he's the Intercontinental Champion half the damn time.
He's injured.
I understand
this got
that.
Weird.
But even when he wasn't injured, I forgot what brand he was on. I often forget. Oh yeah, okay, boobs. That means Nakamura. Got it. Complete tarnish on the luster rather than a minor loss of the shine on Asuka. Completely shit his character down the toilet with that one moment in time. All right. JJ, your favorite Rumble match? On the spot.
I know. For me, it comes down to two. And I hate to take the cheap way out like that, but it is what it is. Sue me. A couple times a month, I'm the co-headliner on this channel. 2004, the Forgotten Rumble.
Right.
I always was a fan of that. The moment, the way Benoit went toe to toe, bell to bell. I thought it was a great story.
Yep.
And, as far as Rumbles that actually can be mentioned by the WWE, I always go back to 98.
Yep.
I was telling Josh about it earlier when you were off camera. always loved that Rumble, primarily for the three faces of Foley in the same match, but for other reasons also. I mean, Rocky was there at the end. You kind of got to see who would have thought that in less than a year he'd be champion?
Yeah. I think with The Rock, and again, we've all kind of touched on The Rock, and he and I are going to touch on The Rock a lot here come May. When we talk about, his movies and his matches on Dads and his movies on Renegades Reviews. The Rock really hit his stride. People, oh yeah, it's when he turned heel and joined the Nation. No. It's when he turned heel in 97 and got paired with the Intercontinental Champion, Steve Austin, in a program. You figure you had their series of matches in November, December, and into maybe the early parts of January, but Austin tossing that Intercontinental title away, literally, and The Rock getting it back helped both of them take that next step. Because you figure Austin's going to Mania to face the champion. The Rock's in that program with Ken Shamrock, which people do not give enough credit to. I don't give a shit. That program with Rock and Shamrock that lasted the first quarter of that year, god damn, was that good stuff. And then Rock went to the feud with Farouk, because you have to feud with Farouk because you can't keep The Rock as a secondary player in a faction. He's the lead guy. He's the lead dog. And like they always say, if you're not the lead dog, the view never changes. He was not going to stay at Ron Simmons' ass his entire career. That was not going to be a thing for Dwayne Johnson. It was not going to be. And then like you said, Jay, between WrestleMania and November, he went from being the dastardly son of a bitch that cornered Chyna in the ring and barricaded DX in the back to make sure he got one over on her, to putting Hunter over in the Garden, to having the fans organically turn him babyface in that 3 months between SummerSlam and Survivor Series, only to go, I never forgot that Rocky died. I'm the champion. I'm with Vince now. Thanks.
Yeah.
And it was like that moment, again, in St. Louis, was just like a, dude, fuck you. Like we like Foley, but Foley was Vince's. But
organic
and
hatred of reaction, yes.
And then it's boom, Austin-mania, because you know that Austin being screwed again out of that championship. It's like, okay, how soon can Mania get here? And now The Rock's champion. It's like, ooh, okay, cool. Yeah, just
but
great
first
stuff.
They had to go through the Rumble.
Right?
At the pond where Vince actually wins.
Yes.
Yes. And
this is Josh, one of the most infamous Rumbles ever.
Unless we not mention, Rock and Mankind going through their own journey that night, unless we cannot ever forget, you have to freeze frame it because it's a quick miss when Austin and Vince are front of the aisle. You do see the boss himself, Aaron Rich. So keep an eye out for. His face looks exactly the same. He hasn't aged a bit, bastard.
Meacham, what is your favorite Rumble?
Golly, I mean, I always say 92 because again, it's the easy answer, right? But 92 will always be my favorite, always, unless something really drastic happens. But I do have honorable mentions, and since you're the co-headliner, I'm the headliner, so let me go ahead and do that. Fucking pull that card. 2018 Women's Rumble, strictly because it exists.
Yep.
I mean, everybody in the room knows I was a promoter of a women's wrestling federation. That moment when Stephanie walked out there on Raw and said it was going to be a thing, I cried. Like I was working for the company. I cried. Like because it was like, this is it, man. Yeah, we got Money in the Bank, and yeah, we got we had Chamber later, all that stuff. But we're getting the girls in a Rumble. Like fucking A, yes. And then the following year, they're in the last match at Mania.
They main evented.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it was night one, night two, where it's no. They were the last thing we saw, which was just one of those. I almost never say never in wrestling anymore. I knows better now, right? I was never say never for 35 years. I really was. There was just no way.
There you go. Anything's possible.
So the 18 Rumble, definitely. Women's Rumble, the 18 Men's Rumble. It was a good Rumble match, but what it led to was just like, oh, okay, no.
Yeah.
The 07 Rumble, especially the ending, but the entire story of that match was really well told as well.
I mean, you had Kenny Dykstra, of course, who was going after Ric Flair because they were doing their own tidbit. And then you also had Rated RKO that were working for a good portion. But there was still teasing about, because again, only one could win the Rumble. Again, there's a lot of takeaways you could take from that Rumble in particular.
Yep. The 1991 Rumble will always be special for me also because it was the first Rumble that occurred when I was a fan. And watching Superstars the following Saturday and learning the Macho King flat out bounced out of that building after screwing the Warrior out of the title, and like number 18 rang and nobody came out, and like, dude, Randy Dunn ran for his life rather than try to win the Rumble. That's how scary the Warrior was. Like, no me chingas, I'm good, thanks. So it's
he gone.
Yeah, he gone. Yeah. Hey, it's running royalty. Cool. Yeah, he was bye. And again, what that led to, him and Warrior at Mania. Everybody will crap on Warrior's match quality, and I will be first in line on that bus, and I'll drive the microphone. I'll drive that bus to crap on Warrior's matches. But the match with Savage was great, and the post match with Elizabeth still makes me drown in tears to this day, 31 years later. So the thing with me, Rumbles are good in themselves, but it's what the Rumble results lead to that also influences my thinking, which is why I will never praise the 18 Royal Rumble, because decent match, but the outcome with Nakamura and AJ Styles getting the job they did in their program was just like, kill me. So where are we at here on comments? Jay, go ahead and load Josh Gonzalez's first comment under the Oscar comment, if you will.
Stone Cold. Sorry, I had to do that because JR.
There we go. Yeah. See, again, he was in San Antonio, and let me just say about San Antonio: 3 straight years ending in 7 Rumbles for that city, and they brought it all 3 times, man. Because they had the '97 Rumble, which again, if you're a Stone Cold fan. If you're a fan of Bret Hart, whiny Bret Hart, heel turn Bret Hart, great friggin' show. If you're a Shawn Michaels fan, great friggin' show. If you're a fan of Bill Mascaris, go away, but dumb show for you. And then 07, again, you had what we had here. And then 17, like we talked about, we had the moment with Goldberg being there, Undertaker coming out of nowhere. We had just a lot of great stuff in there. Yeah, Randy winning was what it was. And again, what it led to was such hot garbage. But the Rumbles in San Antonio, for me, have always been really well done. And again, Texas, again, I'm a Cowboys fan. So being a Cowboys as a Cowboys fan is rough on me. But Texas always brings it when wrestling shows up. Always. So
y'all ain't them boys.
All right, like I said, respect Jeff, respect my best friend's team.
No, I appreciate it, but let me just say this: if we can at some point, JJ, while we're going through comments, if you can bring the NFL standings up where we finished when the playoffs started, we'll go ahead and do that later. And we'll see exactly what Brown can do for you, Josh. Anyway,
love you, Jeff.
Big giant turdy. Anyway. So, all right, where are we at?
Love you, Jeff.
I love you too, even though you are a shithead.
Different worlds here colliding. Oh, good grief.
Different world. That's a really old soap opera with Lisa Bonet, who actually just broke it with Aquaman. So there you
go. Good grief, almighty.
My favorite Rumble has to be
2001 again.
And again, 01 is so polarizing because it's a fun match to watch, but the match quality itself is kind of shitty.
I mean, you had garbage and trash cans and Kendall sticks. Oh my, you had ECW basically in this Rumble.
Oh, I meant garbage as far as the fact that Drew Carey earned a Hall of Fame spot for that, and Cyndi Lauper's still not in. Boom, Mike.
That too. And by the way, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Still one of my favorite songs of all time. Anyway.
Cyndi Lauper is not inducted in the Hall of Fame either soon, hopefully out here. But again, my hope is for my buddy David Arquette because of the Hollywood connection. But if Cyndi goes in when they're here, I'm cool with it.
Yes, but do we really want to give Hogan a live mic to be the one to induct her?
Hail to the no.
No, resurrect Roddy. Make him do it.
Do a virtual hologram thing. You got all the CGI bullshit. You could probably pull that off.
You can honestly probably hologram Roddy's Wendy Richter speech and just change a few words around. He probably kept the same speech anyway. Love you, Roddy. I'm just saying. That for me, the 05 Rumble with the quad tier. Oh my god.
I totally forgot about that.
Okay. I have made the policy, and since James isn't here, I can actually keep the policy intact because James isn't here, to not shit on the old man. Okay. God damn it, that was funnier than hell.
Oh my god! He literally walked in the ring and just sat his ass because
he slides in and he's still Mr. McMahon and is sitting in the ring. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that, brother. He's sitting in the ring, he's still barking, and I'm like, Vince, you are sitting down and you are not Mr. McMahon. You are an old feeble, but you need help. And then he walks to the back like, how are you? You really are a cyborg, aren't you? You really are. It's true.
Oh my god.
And then a couple years later, he's ECW champion with a do-rag.
Oh my god.
And again, the aftermath of the Rumble is what I always remember. The Hall of Fame that year, he was walking around barely using his crutches behind the curtain. It's like, go sit your legs don't work ass down, Muckerfather. What is wrong with you?
That strut just strutted too darn far and hard.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. So is Big Ben or Betty White going in the Hall of the Celebrity Wing? Thanks for everything. Love you, boys. We love you too, Zach. We really do, man. We hope you're getting better, brother.
Take care, man.
Again, Betty's moment on Raw was just so great, and Betty White was so great. Really,
she was.
The thing with Ben is this, and again, Josh is going to agree with me, but you behave yourself up there. Where there we go. Damn.
Like the Brady Bunch having to look from square to square.
Here's the story of another. Okay, we got off the rails.
Right. You behave yourself for a minute here. Okay. Anyway, they're not going to put Ben in this year if they do it all. And I say that because as much as Ben's getting respect right now and the love right now for the retirement or whatever, a lot of people don't like Ben Roethlisberger. A lot of people don't like Ben. If you find me a person that genuinely does not like Betty White and they're not redheaded, find me their soul, because it clearly isn't there. I mean, really. Betty White's one of the best people in the history of the universe. Okay? And the only reason Betty White, was able to step down is because Dolly Parton exists. She's now the superior being. Now Dolly Parton took that spot, and we're good to go with Dolly for a while, hopefully, because that way otherwise Mike could lose his job. That'd be bad. Betty White would be a great inductee, but I stand by it has to be one of two people in the celebrity wing this year. If it's not Cindy, which it should have been in 2005, let's not kid ourselves. It's got to be Lem. They've put that off way too long. Lemmy should have been inducted when he was still alive, because he had contributed so much to the E already by that point. And that was 6 years ago when he passed. So if it's going to be a celebrity, it needs to be Lem, or it needs to be Cyndi Lauper sooner rather than later. Yes, sir.
Forgive me for uttering this at this point in time, because I know you've already mentioned his name and possibly Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know the promotional machine that WWE is.
Yes.
What are the odds that it's Arquette to help promote the Scream movie that just came out? And by the point that Mania is happening, we're probably going to be beginning to look towards a DVD, Blu-ray, digital release.
I keep forgetting the quick turnover from screen to digital to release these days. That's not actually a bad idea. It really isn't. So I can definitely see it happening. But again, there's so many conflicting stories in my head as far as the celebrities. And I say that because, well, do you put Cindy in Hollywood? Well, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, wait, no, do you put Cindy in for WrestleMania 40 because of the milestone anniversary? Do you wait that long for Cindy? It's like, well, maybe. Okay, so they're going to be in Hollywood. You know, there's literally a statue of Lem in Hollywood that I still haven't gone to see. I'm sorry, brother. Sorry, brother. Maybe do Lem next year. So there's so many different options. I just don't want to see a celebrity. And again, I shit on Drew Carey, and I know people in Cleveland are like mad at me at this point for shit on Drew Carey, but he doesn't deserve to be there. He just doesn't. He was literally on one show in 2 segments for like 10 minutes, 3 segments for like 10 minutes. Well, by the same token, Betty White only did 1 episode of Monday Night Raw. She's Betty fucking White. Okay? That's the difference.
She's more deserving than Coco Beware.
Ooh.
I didn't say that out loud, but I agree. Anyway.
Remy won't go in until Triple H can induct him, and Triple H is still out of commission.
Yep.
Well, yeah, because his heart broke from NXT dying. Anyway, that's what I said. I know it's
Hashtag
weird.
not my NXT, RIP Black and Gold, RIP my NXT. Anyway, read this comment. And by the way, Jeff, I agree. Betty White, immortal game show, television legend, genuine kind of human being. Hey, at least she's up there now with Alan London, and God rest her soul.
I also say this. If they're going to induct a celebrity that can actually still hopefully travel to go to the induction, let's get Bob Barker in there before it's too late. I mean, really.
He's, man.
Yeah. Bob Barker's so old that Dead Sea was sick when he started on television. Okay, so let's just get that going. Seriously.
And
Anyway.
yeah, he can still probably kick your ass, Jeff, because he was trained by Chuck Norris.
You know what? The fact that he wasn't on the primetime anniversary special breaks my heart. Surprise! I'm not going to lie, but yeah,
I agree.
I'm not, like I have learned from my buddy Adam Sandler. Do not Bob Barker. Anyway,
damn right, a good movie.
I know it's weird, but them all winning the Rumble is still in my top 10 only because, as Jeff said, the aftermath with the triple threat of him. Yeah, again, that entire run of, if you really think about it, the previous Rumble with Benoit and Angle and that ridiculously classic match they had, and
Yes.
Benoit struggling and dealing with the SmackDown GM's bullshit the second half of 2003 because it was Paul, and then making the decision to go on himself. Paul's like, "You're number 1 in the Rumble." Okay, I'll just win it then. And then using the first one to legitimately use the loophole and cross over to Raw and go, "Well, yeah, you guys had a great match last night, and I don't, discount that, but I want Hunter." And the fact that Benoit not only crossed over to Raw, not only challenged Hunter, he challenged for the belt that WCW tried to hand him to placate his ass. Please stay. You can be world champion. Yeah, but you literally rape my buddy's careers on the way out. No, thanks. No, I'm bye, Felicia. I'm out of here. I said bye, Felicia. I'm on the podcast. Just kill me now, guys. Just end it. It's over. Anyway.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks.
Okay, sorry, not a copyright strike. Anyway, continue, Jack.
Do you know I've been running Paradise Kitty ads for a month to promote that show last night? I run one ad where they use legitimate Guns music and they flag me on Greg's show. I'm like, motherfuckers, really? Anyway.
Oh,
so pissed. So pissed. Anyway, so I'll get the train of thought back in a minute.
Benoit, title.
Yeah. So yeah, Benoit, and then that entire arc of Rumble to Mania, and just the moment at Mania where Benoit finally legitimately wins the. Where are we pointing at here? What are we doing?
We're pointing at Noah's title.
We're pointing at Noah's title.
Oh, okay. Well,
The gold.
There you go. Anyway, so I'm like, the big gold. My head, like my head's fascinating. Cool. Anyway,
anyway,
the moment with Benoit winning the championship, JR 18 years, and then to see Eddie come out and the embrace and and then if you watch the DVDs and the bonus stuff, having Nancy come out, Daniel come out, and just the whole moment, yes. It was completely tarnished by what happened 3 years later, and I can't ever take that away from its place in history.
No,
but the moment was what it's very much like I said, this retroactive condemning stuff. It's like people aren't allowed to look back with reverence on that. Why? It was a beautiful moment with a beautiful family and beautiful friendships. Why must we look on it with a not rose-colored guys with shit-stained spectacles? Why? That Chris Benoit didn't do what Chris Benoit did 3 years later. That wasn't the same person. That's the people don't understand. And again, I'm going to get probably major flack. I really don't care. It's my network. I really don't give a shit. People need to understand about that, about mental health and about, especially when you have what Chris Benoit's brain ultimately had, which was basically Alzheimer's disease. You're not the same person at that point. You're just not. And if we can't look back on him being champion and celebrating with Eddie, and we can't look back on Eddie's run because it's so tarnished by his friendship with, no. Anyway.
Some history is better off forgotten, and some history is better off remembered forever. And basically, Jeff, that's what you sum that up to.
It's one of those, just seriously, take out that last weekend in June out of wrestling history. Benoit's one of the top 10 greatest of all time. Period.
Bar none.
I feel that the 2012 Rumble, where Sheamus was in his hindsight one of the most important moments in WWE because it led to the 18-second match and the rise of Daniel Bryan. That's also one of the most important moments in history because that's the moment that the apartment almost imploded on its damn self in Long Beach because Uncle Jeff almost had a conniption.
Kiss of death.
I have
never
already pretty much anti-Sheamus because he was Hunter's workout buddy and he was kind of getting everything handed to him, and then brogue kick, pin, not even 18 seconds.
There's a lot of things that I will absolve myself of blame of in my life and in my career of doing these things. Having the apartment manager call on us that day, I own that shit 100%.
We'll make a Ninja Turtle movie, Bebop.
Yeah, I was so fucking mad at that match. And then we get the middle part of the show where we have one of the greatest moments ever with Michaels and Undertaker and Hunter and the Hell in a Cell thing.
End of an era.
And then The Rock beats John. I'm like, all right, so we're just going to bookend it with pissing Jeff off, but we get good stuff in the middle. No, not even that. They bookend it pissing me off, and they put it in the middle. They almost induced a freaking heart attack out of me. Can we if you want me to die, Vince, just tell me. I'll do it on the air. Get your money. Come back next week. If you die in the air, right, Roddy? Damn.
But like I said, Jeff.
Well, I was at the apartment freaking cheering when Rocky won. Because I think I was the only one in the house that was Team Rocky at that point.
Pretty much.
It was an obvious result, to be fair.
Even though everybody hated Cena because of how super Cena he was, they were more anti-Rocky because he had been gone for so long. And here he was beating the franchise.
Yep.
He didn't have time. He didn't have time to turn his back, goddammit.
No report card radio. I did not. The only time in history that I have turned my back on a wrestling match was Batista Cena.
What? It was a good match, but
WrestleMania 26.
What a Mania? No. Horrible match.
I liked that match.
It was a horrible match.
I'm going to be good and not comment on the Sheamus Daniel Bryan match from WrestleMania 28. I'm just going to be a good boy and not comment.
Okay.
Dude, it's over my night. Get off your freaking high chair. Come on. This is after hours. Go dark. Go vocal. Go rogue. I don't give a damn. Let me tell you something, all right?
You know
as far as WrestleMania, you shush up. Let me tell you something. As far as WrestleMania 26 and 28 goes, those were one-match freaking shows. The only damn thing that mattered in either of those shows were the matches that involved Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, and I stand by that. Shoot, even Sheamus and freaking Daniel Bryan can't believe that opening shit that they went for WrestleMania 28. There's no way the people thought, oh, we're just going to give them 18 seconds. That was utter bullcrap. And as far as I'm concerned, those are two WrestleManias better off forgotten.
Well, WrestleMania 26 as my favorite match of all time. Streak versus
Good on
career.
you, but you are a younger fan.
2, you're forgetting I didn't know Indy Daniel Bryan Danielson before then.
Fair enough.
I didn't care.
I don't hold that against you. I'm talking about myself as a fan, because again, dude, the age range between me and you, big difference. With all due respect, I watched Ring of Honor back in freaking 2003, 2002 when I was burnt down on the WWE changing eras.
See, this is why I wasn't going to comment on this match, because what I'm about to say is going to send you into an even bigger rant, and Jeff one. So.
Just do it. Nope, you already set up. Do it.
I didn't care that Daniel Bryan got squashed. I was cheering Sheamus for that.
Again, you're young, so I'm gonna let that slide by.
Yeah.
So you're good.
I'm of the same mindset. If he had been there with us in the trenches, watching Bryan Danielson come up in the Indies, he would not have felt that way.
Absolutely not.
I agree. I'm just saying my perspective from back then in middle school, except like middle school back then. Like, I like Daniel Bryan 2010, but after that, I'm no. So
all right, fair enough.
Psycho Dunn said it without me having to be expletive or raunchy in my terms. So thank you, Psycho. I appreciate that very much.
18 seconds. Thanks for the correction. Also, I forgot that Sheamus was Triple H workout buddy. Thank God the bar made him likable again after the League of Nations debacle. Oh, God.
What made him likable with the bar was being with Cesaro.
Yes.
Cesaro is an all-around great worker and a decent dude.
Yes.
So putting somebody on the level of Sheamus, and I'll just leave it at that because we've already gotten off in the weeds here, but putting somebody like Sheamus with somebody like Cesaro is association.
Look, when Sheamus and Cesaro had that best of 7 series, I didn't want it to end. It pissed me off that one match ended with them saying, "Oh, you can't continue, because it left me wanting more. And WWE rarely does that, it seems, with two compelling superstars in a longer term type. Okay, I want to see this match again, but how do you make this match feel more different than the last? But it was Cesaro definitely that I was always backed up behind, and still up to this day. Meeting him in 2019 at the SummerSlam meet and greet, I'm like, dude, you should be the freaking world heavyweight champion. Why aren't you yet? But keep always raising the bar. Anyway, what's Rayo Carrillo got to stay here?
We were telling him the same thing at PWG. He should have been the Ring of Honor World Champion. He didn't pull that trigger either.
I know, right? I like, dude, why aren't you a freaking big-time main champion? The highest accolade you got was what? The United States Championship, and that got forgotten?
Well, he was PWG World Champion for a decent amount of time, which was a great booking decision at the time by the PWG 6 or whoever was running the company at that point. That was,
I have no idea who.
But yeah, he should have been Ring of Honor champion. He definitely should have been at least WWE or World Heavyweight Champion, or even now Universal Champion. But whatever. My name ain't Paul. That's between y'all.
Yeah. So. All right. What's report card radio got to say here? I'm sorry.
He says, "Dude, you like Batista versus?" He's talking to Mansfield up here. Dude, you like Batista versus Cena at Mania? That SummerSlam match where Cena broke his neck was far superior. I bet you didn't hate that one. Personally, for me, I was dismayed at that match because John got hurt.
Yeah, John legitimately got hurt during that.
I don't like any match where somebody gets hurt, even if it's somebody that I don't care for. Right. If I see somebody take a nasty bump and get hurt, I'm like, holy crap, I hope they're okay.
Creative differences aside,
even as much as we all sat there and cracked up at Vince tearing his quads coming down to the ring, we were all still like, holy crap, I hope he's okay. I hope he can get back.
Yep.
You know, we sit there, we crack jokes about it now, but not a single one of us hoped for the worst with him.
Of course not. You know, it's
No. At the end of the day, you don't want a human being legitimately getting injured, let alone maybe their career ending off an injury too. No matter how creative differently you are against it.
No. And Cesaro, who
Bryan Danielson.
No. Go back. No, don't put that back, Jay. It was Claudio Castagnoli, not Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson was Ring of Honor champion.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, Cesaro. Yeah, Cesaro, who was Claudio Castagnoli with the Kings of Wrestling with Chris Hero, Ring of Honor. He definitely should have been Ring of Honor World Champion. Both of them should have been, to be honest with you, at some point.
Anyway. Okay, so that's my tirade about Cesaro and about the Josh Mansfield's fandom versus our aged fandom. So,
so now Josh has been torn to shreds tonight.
I'm still mad that
that's
Chris
why I
Hero
didn't wanna
couldn't
comment.
get his shit together so that he could have joined Claudio in the E and had a Kings of Wrestling tag run.
Yeah. The fact that I wore your Kings of Wrestling shirt to that SummerSlam Access and like Danielson and Claudio are both like, all right, I got you. We got this. See, they member. I know Brian does, but yeah, that was a fun access. That was a really fun because we all wore like punk centric stuff and people are looking at us like we had 3 heads. Like, y'all don't understand.
I agree with James. Yes, freaking please.
Yeah, that needs to be a thing, especially for the reason he did. Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome.
Or at least a backstage interaction after the mixed tag match.
Yes.
With Edge there.
Yeah, If Edge and Beth, especially if they lose, and they're walking back there like sulking, and Alita walks by and like they have a moment, it's just like, just don't say anything, not a word, not even like a sly look either way, just like looking at each other and then walk away, and everybody goes, ooh.
Yeah, Beth, Lita.
What
Edge
would
in
make
the middle? Oh shit.
Or
what would make it even funnier? And it won't happen, but what would make it even funnier is if Lita walked by the back and there was Edge Beth, Punk AJ, and Matt, and what's his wife's name?
Rebby.
There. All 6 of them, and she just kind of like walked by.
But the only thing with Rebby being there is I'd want her to expire on camera because she's such a bitch.
Damn.
See, my thing would be if I have Edge and Beth winning this mixed tag.
You wrong for that, James. You wrong for that. Anyway, carry on.
If I have Edge and Beth winning, obviously, easy pick. But if they lose, I want them to walk by Lita and Lita just say, "So, no celebration tonight?"
You guys are wrong. You are terrible.
You're terrible, dude. Damn, but I actually do agree with you. I have Edge and Beth winning because I don't think this feud should go on
That would be great.
longer.
That'd be just a perfect little comment to history.
Yeah, I agree. It has to be Jericho because Bob Barker put Jericho in his place with his bid.
That's right.
By the way, I haven't watched Price is Right since Bob Barker retired. It just is not the same show to me.
I only watch it occasionally, mainly when my dad's home from work that day, and it's on at 10 o'clock anyway. But like, I'll rarely watch it anymore. It's just not as fun.
It's not.
All right, so where are we at here?
Anyway.
Where are we at?
Any other comment? Because
yeah, I'm just.
I was about to say, Josh, the only person you were missing was Kane, but what was corporate Kane? And we had a callback somehow where Leah's like, "Oh, hey, Kane." Or calls him Glenn or something like that. Oh, what's this? How about Shawn Michaels returns at the Royal Rumble and whoever throws him out sets up a match at WrestleMania?
AJ, as much as I want Edge versus AJ at Mania, if Michaels comes back, Michaels to the top of that
if
list.
Michaels has one more match,
it's got to be against AJ.
Freaking AJ.
It's got to be the end game.
Can we at least get a Kickstarter going and get Shawn Michaels a wig for that match? Can we do that? Would that be okay? No.
And don't come to the rain painted green like the Avengers of Justice film. Please, God, no.
Oh, Lord.
I miss DX's hair in general. I hated when Triple H cut his hair off.
Really? Here's the thing. My mother. There you go, Jeff. My mother was an old school wrestling fan. Again, she's the reason that I first gazed at it. And one of her all-time favorites was Triple H. And one of the biggest reasons she loved Triple H was that biker gang mentality, that mohawk, and that hair. I kid you not, at times I was sitting next to her, she was literally punching me when Hunter was not winning.
Right.
She's asleep right now, so hopefully she doesn't hear none of this and tries to come in here and embarrass.
So I'm getting the buzz in the next room. We need to do what's on the screen right now as far as comments, and we got to wrap this up, guys. All right. Good. So as far as CM, it's funny. Yeah, CM Punk only got 3 years left. Randy saying he'll wrestle another, whatever it is, 10 years or whatever. Again, you guys have to remember something. Punk left and was so jaded for so long. He only came back because of please just come back. Please, pretty please just come. And he did. But now it's like the shine is already off of him. It's like he's here, but like he's not really. The match with MJF Wednesday may be make or break for his AEW run.
I agree. It's in Chicago for a reason.
Exactly. And then we had one I really wanted to talk about. And James, my brother, I'm sorry. For real. Like, so as far as that goes, here's what's going on with the shirts. As I've said, we're in the process of a move. And I appreciate it was your birthday. I do wish you had a birthday, brother. So thank you. Belated, I know. Once we get everything boxed up, it's going to be boxed up and either moved, donated, trashed, whatever. I will do everything I possibly can to get those shirts out to you by WrestleMania. That's my goal with those shirts because they're still in the same box that I put them in to ship to you, 3 months ago, wherever it was. It's just been chaos around here, and I do apologize. That's not your fault. It just is what it is.
Oh, I definitely understand that.
So, exactly. Randy kept conditioned. That's the thing. Randy kept himself in shape, which is why Punk didn't. I mean, yeah, he was UFC training, but he didn't stick around doing that very long. So, am I the only nerd who wants seen in the Rumble tomorrow as the Peacemaker with Eagle? Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Again, driving by the billboard on Sunset, like, I haven't seen my buddy's movie yet, but it's like, I don't need to see him in the Rumble with the full suit. Besides, didn't Jimmy Fallon steal the hat? Anyway, or the helmet? Okay.
Thing with Randy for tomorrow at the Rumble.
Yes.
Everyone go around to your pick. Who eliminates who between him and Riddle? Because if they're going to start that RK Bro feud for Mania tomorrow with whoever is
eliminating. If we want Riddle to be the one to go heel to make this feel fresh, and we know that he's been shamaning MSK, it has to be Riddle, in my opinion, with MSK somehow popping out from the ring with the distraction point.
Yeah.
And you finally form that faction. Let's just go full gear, straight into WrestleMania, build this match. Riddle has to be the one to do it.
Right, because
if just Control C, Control V all over again.
Because if Randy does it, it's like we've all been expecting Randy to be the one to be the heel. So it's like, All right, so okay, I'll answer this last one, you guys.
If Randy eliminates Riddle, then people are going to assume he's going to win the Rumble.
Right, exactly.
True, even though it's his hometown, but yeah.
Right. So, all right. Oh, go ahead. Who would shock you the most if they return to the Rumble tomorrow? Austin, definitely Punk. Definitely Punk in that group. Definitely.
Punk. Yeah. Because somehow WWE is able to actually forge that forgiveness.
Right.
Then I truly believe that nothing is impossible in the pro wrestling industry.
Yeah, that's an easy answer. That's probably the easy answer of the night. And since it's the easy answer of the night, we're going to end it there. Again, thank you to Jay for running the studio, and I kept pushing the buttons anyway because I'm being an asshole. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that while I'm thinking about it. Again, thank you, Josh, for being here all night and helping us with the commentary. No, my friend, we've got about 18 hours or so, and then off we go again, brother.
Pretty much.
So, again, Jay, throw it up for me, the Rumble thing for tomorrow. Bright ass gold. Yeah,
Give me 1 second to find it.
You're good. You're good.
Man.
We're going to be on at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. We'll be on an hour before the E. So we can actually have a chance to talk before the E starts.
Yep.
And it's
I'll
going to be,
of course, monitoring predictions leagues as they come in. And again, professional wrestling fans, new, old, casual, indifferent, come join the fun. There is a link of a form on my Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. And there will be the link on the screen, and I'll put it out there on social media to join us on screen. Again, it's a maximum of 10. If we get more than 10, I'll kind of rotate people into the room. Noah will be in there the whole time because he's calling the action. I'll be there the whole time because it's the Jeff Meacham Network. JJ
Brandon
said you might be able to be there, brother. You're not sure, or
50-50 at this point. I'll keep you posted.
And Josh?
As long as my sister is back before 7, I should make it in by when the Rumble starts.
Sounds good, brother. So we will see everybody watching hopefully tomorrow night. And again, if you're unable to watch us, which I totally get because, having that much streaming going in your house at once is a mucker, brother. I get it. Make sure you check out Aaron's coverage on Twitter over at NoDQ&AV because he'll be covering the action each and every step of the way all night long, all afternoon long, I should say. So for the Simple Man, for our buddy from Cleveland, and for the Renegade, I am the West Coast Professor, and we will see you guys tomorrow night for the Royal Rumble and right here again on the Jeff Meacham Where's the Camera Network.
Have a good night, folks.
Hashtag Greg Cherry for Quizlemania.
That's hardcore.
Wow.